the Triforce and it feels right. Like Bowser, you can listen all night, singing peaches until the sun lights. Summer shoots her beam so bright. Master Hand always brings a fight. Catch 'em all and use that fire blast. Put the soul back to visit your past. Welcome to the Nintenbyte Podcast.
All right. Hey, everyone.
Welcome
to episode 2 of the Nintenbyte Podcast. We have a lot going on today. First off, though, some thoughts going out to Saffron City TV, who had to drop from the show today because she is dealing with some tornado warnings. So hopefully I hear from her later after everything is clear that everything's all right. That being said, we have a lot to go over because Nintendo had a crazy week.
Yeah.
A crazier week than people even expected. Things announced like Nintendo Directs that we definitely were not expecting announced this week. So
Nintendo Direct in June? Who does that?
Yeah. Yeah, right. So we're going to go around the room and just introduce ourselves quick. We'll start with, let's just start with Andres, who's right next to me, man. How you doing?
Good.
Good? That's all I was going to say.
Yeah.
He's a man of little words.
Hell yeah.
Little word. Eric Moore.
What's up? I'm good too. I'm just here.
Always just here. Thunder Steve 85 Gaming.
What's up, guys? I'm very happy to be here. A lot of Nintendo stuff to discuss today.
Yes. Mike Odyssey.
Let me get up. Turn you on. Peace. Bye.
And you froze your camera.
The
Game Boy Classic.
Thanks for having me
There
back,
it is.
brother.
HMK. The hype man. You haven't been on in a while.
Oh my god, he gripping and
He's just too
ripping
busy
it.
over there. Like, I'm ripping and ripping. Ripping
What's
and
good? No,
ripping.
I'm I'm so glad to be back. I've been busy, but now we're here. Yes.
Awesome.
No, we're not.
And back again for Vlam.
Hi everybody, it's your favorite Twitch streamer.
Thunder, 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 thunder.
All right. So we don't do what are we playing lately anymore because that is from a show that no longer exists. It is now retired. Goodbye, Nintendo Prime Podcast. I never knew you. We are now doing Topic Roulette, which deals with our 4 co-hosts, which is me, Andres Restar, Eric Moore, and Thunder Steve 85 Gaming, where we pick the topics from a list that's on the back end and make fun of each other. So let's have. I think Andres went first last time. Let's have Eric
I
go
went first last time.
But you'll
By
go first
first,
again.
you mean I went last?
For picking a topic, Eric. What topic you want to pick there, buddy?
Well, I might as well just become the guy who does the non-news topic. So, what is the craziest Pokemon theory?
Well, the funny thing is, it is a news topic because if you read it, it says +3 rumored Pokemon games.
Well, there you go. I didn't see that part.
So there you go.
You know,
See,
why not?
it helps if you
Wow.
read.
No, I don't know how to.
You don't need that.
You should be ashamed
All right.
of yourself.
Let's go on over to Thunder Steve 85.
Okay, for my topic, I will choose. I'm going to have to go with the hopes and dreams for a new Donkey Kong game.
Ooh, that hurts.
Okay. I mean, really leaving some obvious topics. Let's see what happens. Andres restart. Choose wisely.
I'm looking.
I have a feeling like this is our first time
I
reading
swear if
the
the one you
document.
choose, I'm gonna be.
Well, I already read. I read the document in like a second, so I know.
Yeah.
But I'm just.
I mean,
trying
there's
to
2 topics we should choose, but there is technically a third.
Yeah, I mean, I think if we talk about the Nintendo World Championships, it'd be okay. So it exists, it's real, it'll be kind of cute. It's a July game. All right, that's the topic. So we don't have to talk about that anymore.
There you go.
Done. I you know what? I'll pick the Switch. Not the Switch. They're all Switch. Nintendo Direct for June stuff.
All right. So, what you guys don't know is that we have to introduce the topic. So he's like, it actually matters what you choose. If you choose something you don't know what you're talking about,
Like me.
like Eric just did, doesn't even know. I did provide a link, by the way.
That goes to nothing.
No, that is the leak.
Oh,
Read it.
okay. Fair
Well,
enough.
you're not up right now.
Fair enough.
Yet. Not yet.
Yes, I know. I can
Anyways,
realize that.
well, I obviously have to take the Nintendo World Championships. And no, I'm just kidding. We have to obviously talk about the Nintendo Switch 2 stuff. So I'll take the Switch 2 topic. Isn't that 2 weeks in a row I was like forced to take the Switch 2 topic?
Yeah,
at the end?
yeah, but I kind of figured you'd want to.
Forced.
I was about to
Right?
say
Yeah.
but this is like prime time, baby. This is game time. You know what I mean?
It's not prime time anymore. It's what is it? Is it
Nintenbyte time?
Bite time. My
Bite
bad.
time.
Excuse me.
All right.
Slime
Well,
time.
Oh no! Got terrible news.
What's
Like,
wrong?
I don't know why my voice is echoing, but we got terrible news like 30 seconds ago.
What? What's the breaking news?
As of this is on Nintendo of America's tweet. As of June 10th, 2024, it will no longer be possible to post screenshots and videos to X, formerly Twitter, from the Nintendo Switch's album or send friend requests to social media users via the friend suggestions feature.
they're just migrating to Switch 2. That's fine.
I'm about to say, man, that's
I think
so
it's-
bad.
I think that's a half migration issue, and then also that PlayStation recently ran into that issue not too long ago where you can't post things directly to X, but Twitter.
Yeah.
It has to do with their new API, and they're not gonna shell out to fucking. I'm
pretty-
sorry.
The
I'm about to say, I think it's more of an Elon issue than it is a
Yeah.
Switch issue.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's because of since X is a new API, and then Nintendo and PlayStation didn't want to deal with that.
Twitter keeps finding ways to get worse.
You mean Twix?
So here's the way it goes. We'll see if that comes back. Obviously, we have no idea if they're going to reintroduce that or not.
Yeah.
Because I would argue X is a pretty important platform based on something we're going to talk about today, given that certain companies keep deciding to drop news on said given platform, which is pretty much what keeps it relevant. So,
Yeah.
before we dive into any of those topics, though, Eric Moore,
Yep.
what are we talking about with your topic, buddy? What's going on?
We are going to come up with the craziest Pokemon theories, and then there's also apparently 3 rumored games for
That's
Switch
hard.
2
There is.
that I don't apparently know how to read. So,
Okay. Well, where did that come from?
well, this is over on Twitter with Central Leaks.
Oh, I don't believe
This
Let him introduce the topic, buddy.
the new leak being our well-known Pokemon leaker claims that 3 Pokemon projects have already been greenlit for Switch successor.
That's basically it.
Yeah, that's it.
Gotcha.
There's that, whatever that means.
All right. Well, I mean, obviously, one of them is Legends EA.
Yeah, I would be
I don't
very
think so.
surprised. If,
Legend Za. Get it right.
I'm going to
Detective
disagree right now.
Pikachu 3.
I literally do not think Legends EA has had any production work done on Switch 2.
Well,
This is the
you're wrong.
Pokemon company.
So,
This is the Pokemon company. They don't jump on Switch that quick on like
You're
the next
wrong.
platforms. Can you tell me one time that they've jumped on a platform that quickly?
well,
That's true.
Let's Go
when
Pikachu
the-
and Eevee came out in 2018.
Yeah. Congrats. It came out a year and a half after the Switch came out.
also the
Yeah.
like if you would like to,
They literally have Pokemon games come out holiday
So,
2017.
All right, but so there is a key difference. There's a key difference, right? The difference is the Nintendo 3DS had no sort of level of compatibility with the Switch, right? Like,
So if you're gonna say it's gonna be backwards compatible, sure, but that's every Switch game.
yeah, and at that point, all you have to do is just improve the version for Switch 2. Like, it's not that much extra work. You've seen the turnaround times for Pokemon games.
You know we're
feel-
talking about the Pokemon company, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
That's
You know what
Exactly.
company we're talking about?
Exactly.
They'll turn
If
it
they can make
around.
more
It'll just be a
money,
piece of dog shit is all.
and I think that's
I'm
another
just-
conversation we're gonna have in which, like, is Nintendo truly going to make Switch 2 Switch version of said game if it's going to be backwards compatible? You know what I mean?
I don't think they're making a Switch 2 version of the game. They'll just
Yeah.
say it's backwards compatible and call it a day.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's what I think.
Well, even if
I
you
mean, to
disagree
be
with that,
fair-
I think we all can agree that Gen 10's coming out afterwards, 2026.
Oh,
20,
Yeah.
2030 maybe.
2030.
No,
2026,
that'll
yeah.
be Gen 11, but you know.
I don't
Be
think
Gen
it would
12.
be crazy. I don't think it would be crazy to think that Pokemon Company and Game Freak could be rethinking their approach going forward with a lot of the negativity surrounding previous titles. I don't think it's fair to just hold them to the standards solely on past, because Nintendo's changing stuff up now. You know, I don't think it would be crazy to say that Pokemon Company might be like, you know what? We've always done it this way. We're under a lot of fire. Maybe we should try a new approach going forward. Maybe
Here's the thing.
we should make an optimized version of this for Switch 2.
While I would love that, while I would love that sentiment, here's the thing. They're not going to do that. Like 90% not going to do it for two reasons. Why? Because these games, despite the fire and all the negativity, they still break records. That's one.
That's true.
Two, the games for the past 20 years have not been the main moneymaker for Pokemon Company. They just act as a launch pad for everything else, including the merch. So like, there's literally like, from a business standpoint, no reason. And sure, you're like, oh, are you a shill? I'm like, no, it's just logically for them. There's no reason for them to care more because not only the games continue to sell, even though they're held together by duct tape, but what makes the most money is the merch. Hey, let's introduce 100 new Pokemon. All right, cool. The Pokemon Company starts supplying all the new plushie stickers, all the cell phone cases. That's where the money's at.
The plushie.
Right,
like,
but
I have a counter argument
I was going to say
for Legends of Zelda on Switch 2.
They've sold two versions of their mainline games. I don't think it would be crazy to think maybe people will double dip on Switch 2 with a more optimized version. I don't think. I mean, I personally, I'm not saying it's going to. I'm not saying it's going to happen. I'm just saying I wouldn't be shocked. Like, oh my gosh, Pokemon Company's never done this. How? Like, can't believe they're doing it.
So
it wouldn't shock me.
Right.
That's where. So Cameron and I are kind of on the same side, but I kind of not sure I agree totally. Because you say double dip, it almost sounds like you're implying they'll have two different release dates. I think they would release pretty much around the same time. Now, maybe they can be divided by a week or two, right? If there's a cross-gen version. But yeah, I mean, I think you bring up a good point, though, that they like to release multiple versions, right? And yes, obviously, the history doesn't match up exactly when we look at prior consoles, but this is also a unique situation. You can't assess everything based off history when circumstances change. There's a single gaming platform now that Nintendo focuses on at a time.
So they're done selling Switches as of 2025
maybe.
140
as their primary focus.
150 million base they're projecting to
the
have.
The 3DS wasn't their sole focus during its heyday. It was also the Wii U, right?
I think Switch will continue to sell.
Sure, but we're talking about the Pokemon Company and like their mainline games that only were on handheld. Wii U was irrelevant.
Listen, this is the point I'm making. There is more money to be made by putting out another version on Switch 2, especially in the first year.
So what install?
I think a lot of people, and by people I mean companies, saw that there's a lot of reason to have your series available in that first year. So getting a Pokemon game available on Switch 2 in that first year, it's a big deal.
Okay, I understand what you're saying. My problem is, and this is why the Pokemon Company's never done what you're claiming, is
it's a new episode of
there's no install base. Almost all their sales come in the first
All right, and so here, hold on. There's another point that needs to be made, right? We're talking about what Central League said, right? And what my point is
actually, we're talking about ZA at the moment.
Sure. Well, let me explain, though. I said that ZA, right, would be one of those three projects, assuming that rumor has any basis, right? And so a project doesn't necessarily have to mean a physical release. It could just be a patch. It could be a significant, graphical upgrade patch. That would still technically be a project. So
I got a feeling there's not even a patch.
All right. And well, I mean, there's tiers to this.
I think all they'll do is the game will just launch with DLSS support, and that's it.
Yep. Yeah, I think that's exactly right.
That's literally it. There won't be any extra. It's just DLSS.
Makes more sense. This one.
Not to get more about the rumor itself. Especially the past two Pokemon Directs, Central League has gotten I'm just questioning the validity of them.
Yeah,
I've gotten basically nothing right.
Mm-hmm.
And saying that Pokemon games are coming in the future is kind of like saying, the sun is going to be up in the sky tomorrow. Respectfully.
Also,
it's really cool to think about, but
doesn't mean mainline either. It could be anything.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
literally be anything.
I would like to see. Let's entertain this, right?
Pokemon Cafe 2.
Some spin-offs what's it called? Poke Park. I loved Poke Park.
I saw a new patent on Poke Park.
A what?
A new patent, like an updated patent, updated trademark on.
Oh yeah. Oh, they did. Ooh, that would be cool to see. Yeah.
Hey, you Pikachu 2.
Pokemon Stadium 3.
Yes, no, Pokemon Coliseum 3.
No.
Yeah, a stadium game would be pretty cool.
I want a Pokemon Snap VR.
No, you don't.
some type of VR experience is it's surprising they don't have that, but I think it's literally only because this Switch doesn't support VR, unless Switch 2 somehow supports it better. With like the goggles kind of version of VR.
New series, Pokemon Olympics.
If they do go VR, I hope they do like an accessory, like a separate accessory, and they do put much into it. Take the PlayStation Portal, add sides to it, stream the game straight to the VR, and then make it wireless. You can do that. Actually, there's a patent on exactly what I just described to. So from Nintendo. So if it's it work.
Cool.
Thunder Steve, you got any thoughts?
Yeah. I think we'll get. Yeah, I kind of lean towards what Andre said, and I think we discussed this. I don't know, episode or two ago that I was on. But it makes sense for Nintendo to get the big hitters out early, to really build the install base quickly, and to make sure that these titles are evergreen titles. So, from a business standpoint, it makes sense. I do understand, though, that these Pokemon games usually don't hit the Nintendo platform of choice, whatever it is, throughout the years, be it Game Boy, DS, 3DS, you name it. They usually don't hit within that first year. It's usually at the earliest, somewhere between 12 and 24 months, closer to 24, actually. So, yeah, they would have to do something differently here. But at the same time, I think about another thing you said, Andres, and I was thinking this as well, is that what about a patch? I mean, I think we all probably still remember that rumor way back when about the Pokemon Scarlet and Violet performance patch. And whether it's true or not, it makes sense. So maybe we do get something like that where the game runs better. They improve the frame rate. It gets the DLSS support. That might be enough. That might be enough for a while.
I'm going to give one reason that it won't happen, and it's not just precedent. The reason that I don't think Legends EA will maybe even get a patch, I'm even skeptical on DLSS support. People that own Switch will be pissed off there's a better version of the game on a platform that's sold out and they can't buy.
Unless Nintendo's producing.
I know Nintendo did address that they're going to be able to produce more, but the bottom line is if this platform is in demand the way Switch was year one, if Nintendo has the lineup year one, we think it is, it will be hard to get your hand. It is going to sell out almost every restock like it did year one for Switch.
Well,
Nate, the way Pokemon fans get angry and show the Pokemon company that they hate the games that they like is they buy more of their product. To be fair.
No, I know that. I'm just saying that. Pokemon Legends EA is going to have like 14 million players sitting on Switch. And if you want to upset them, let them know there's a better version of the game, but you ain't going to be able to play it for a year plus anyways until you can get your hands on a damn system. So, and on top of that, just to even look at the precedent, what are two of the top three best-selling Pokemon games?
They're on Switch.
They're on Switch. And did they release year one? No. They released later when the install base was bigger, meaning the strategy works for them. Wait for the install base to be bigger. The thing is, Switch doesn't need them.
But you're talking about exclusive Pokemon games. We're not talking about an exclusive for Switch.
I understand that.
We're talking just about an updated version.
I understand that. I also think Nintendo still wants to sell Switches. I don't think they're going to stop selling Switches just because Switch 2 comes out. It'll be their budget platform, in my opinion. And so because of that, they're still going to want to move those to kids. Pokemon has an appeal with kids. It already have an appeal to people who already own Switch. I just don't feel like there's a reason that they would feel like they need to, especially for a company that's already struggled to get it to run well on one platform. And now we're telling them, hey, do it for two.
Yeah, I think you're really harping on the whole performance thing. Like, yeah, Scarlet and Violet ran like complete dog shit, but Legends Arceus, while still not incredibly impressive, is far superior to Scarlet and Violet. Like, they're following up that formula.
I don't think. Well, actually, we don't really know what the formula is because now it's in a city.
Sword and Shield.
Yeah, I actually
as well.
I actually think it's going to be completely different.
They're following up Legends.
Yes, they are following up Legends, but Legends was all about being out in an open world, exploring. This is just about being in a single city.
They weren't open worlds.
Well, okay, open zones. Okay, yeah, and the city's probably going to be a bunch of zones as well. I'm just pointing out that like it almost is the polar opposite of what Legends was. Legends was all about out in the world.
There's an implied similar gameplay formula. Otherwise, why even call it Legends?
Like, I mean,
I'm
core
actually-
gameplay in terms of like approaching the Pokemon, capturing them, strong style, quick style, whatever. But I do get what Nate's saying, like, you know, because like the scope is going to be different in terms of like, you know, we have the core gameplay. What that gameplay is inside of is going to be very different.
How do we know what the core gameplay is?
I mean, Legends. It's Legends. Like that's why I think.
Yeah,
it's
Legends.
I mean, but
We
that's
were
assuming
sneaking
that
around- we were
they're going to
sneaking
keep
around
that
in
loop.
grass and chucking Pokeballs. We're not
We're making
doing
a
that.
lot of assumptions here.
Everything we're
It's
saying
in
is
the
an
city.
assumption.
They said
Nothing
it's
was
within
grass.
the city.
Confirmed.
They
You
said
find
it's
the game
within the
existing.
city. We're not sneaking around in grass chucking Pokeballs.
Well, that's an assumption. That's also an assumption.
Is it?
I've
Does the
actually
city
gotta-
have a bunch of grassy knolls?
First of all,
I've got to lean
we know
towards
that-
Nate on this one,
Oh
to
my
be honest
God.
with you, just because. Hold on.
We know
I
it
do
takes
think-
place in the past. It's not a normal
Yeah.
city. It's not a normal city. Also, by the way, cities can have parks and patches of grass. Like, all right.
Wait, so it's taking place in the past of
of that.
Kalos.
It's like Industrial
Right.
Revolution.
Industrial
vibes.
Revolution Kalos, where they were first
Yeah,
building
well,
Lemoy City, right?
yeah, I believe that is. It's like the Industrial Revolution. The city is getting. It's like a rebuild project.
You know,
Apparently there's
it's
a city there, but
it's funny because when I see the trailer, I get the complete opposite. I'm like, are we going like mad future in ZA? Because like the way that the architecture looks in the blueprints and stuff. But okay, if it's like Industrial Revolution, then there's gonna be grass or building it. So like,
well, I
feel
think what the idea is that they are building the version of Lumiose we see in the games. So that's where like the future vibe comes in because it's like, oh, they're building the future.
They also show two different maps. They show an old map and they show a new map. So it's,
so maybe there might be. There might just be like
Lemoy City is going to be like Midgar from Final Fantasy VII. There's going to be a top plate and a bottom plate.
That'd be epic.
Nailed it.
Cool. That would be very cool.
Yeah.
I mean, I agree with Nate a little bit. I do think we're making a lot of assumptions about the gameplay side of it because I do think there's going to be a lot that separates this one from the last one.
I don't think it's going to feel like the last one at all.
There's probably going to be a lot of gyms in it if I had to guess, which something that we didn't really have in Legends.
Will be yoked.
You know, there could be part of the game where the city is actually developing and building up as you progress through the storyline. So I think there's definitely potential for a lot of gameplay mechanics that separate it from the first game. But I do share a concern about performance with this one more so than I do the first one. I feel like moving the game into a more city environment that's more populated and dense with maybe characters and buildings and statues and gyms and whatever else for textures and pop in. And I actually think it would, maybe you guys are right. Maybe there is no intention to ever bring the Legend sequel to Switch 2, but I'm almost inclined it's in the game's well-being to be on a more powerful piece of hardware that lends itself to a company who struggle to get their games to run on lesser powered hardware. I feel like Switch 2 would give Pokemon company some extra tools to provide a better and smoother experience for gamers.
Yeah, I'll just say
I feel like it'd be a bad look game for Switch 2 too, because I think it's gonna be really ugly. And they're trying to sell you that Switch 2 is a superior platform, and here's a really ugly game. Enjoy.
I'll just say that with Legends ZA, with it taking place in a city, I would argue, Cameron, you argued that it could maybe put more stress on whatever system they have in place engine.
Sure.
But I think you could also argue from the opposite direction because by being in a city, it's more contained as opposed to being more.
Depends on how many
sprawling.
buildings and stuff. The buildings can really cut off like how your draw distance and stuff.
Right.
I think they're going to be smart with the art style. I just
like
assume
that.
they're going to be smart with the art style. I mean, I thought Legends Arceus, yes, obviously it had some issues, but I thought overall it was actually a pretty game. Not a super impressive game, but it was a pretty game.
I like the art style.
Yeah. And I just assume that they'll polish up that formula a little bit more. I'm assuming that's going to be a little bit better as opposed to worse. But, there is also Scarlet and Violet.
Yeah. And by the way, for those watching live, I wasn't actually mad about anything. There was just a lot of assumptions.
I'm also
being
not
thrown
mad
out that it
right?
feels like the original.
I'm mad.
When they're going in
Nate
the
and I
opposite
just
direction.
get mad at each other.
Yeah.
We're not actually mad. We
Yeah.
just get heated for like 10 seconds.
I'm like, we basically know very little about this. We were shown a single trailer for it, and the trailer just showed a bunch of city stuff. And then, so for me, it was hard to be like, well, go from the city stuff, and all of a sudden it's Legends gameplay just because it's called Legends. Legends does it just. I think just to them means in the past. I don't think it means a particular gameplay style. I think it's going to be completely different because they're focusing on a different part of Pokemon. Last time was focusing on the world. This is focusing on the cities, or a city in this case. That's why I think it's going to be different because they haven't shown us. The little bit of gameplay they showed looked nothing like the first Legends.
There's no gameplay.
Exactly.
There was fishing and other.
It's not gameplay.
It wasn't gameplay. It was ideas. It was ideas.
Yeah, I mean, maybe we can fish in the game, but it was all conceptual. Like,
sure.
So, can I get my 2 cents?
Yes.
How about
No, you're not.
Grace?
You can have 3 cents.
So, yeah, I agree with Nate. Legends means past. Andre. And I also think
that's the point. Wait, that's the point I made.
No,
that's the point I made.
No, you didn't. No, you didn't.
Yes, I literally did. I said Legends takes place in the past. All right.
Anyway, Andre, about I do think they're gonna be they're gonna have what do you call those things? Gym leaders. Yeah, those things, gym leaders.
I didn't know this was gonna be such a heated topic.
Things is crazy.
We didn't even speculate on what the other games could possibly be. We're just like, sticking on ZA. We can't get off it.
This is what I think the game is going to be. The game, of course, is building up the city, building up the gyms. I'm pretty sure you're gonna probably fight each gym leader for the first time, and then establish that gym leader in each zone location. Because when you look at the map, there's buildings that look very similar to each other, which I think are the gym leader places that haven't been built yet. And so you're kind of tasked to kind of go each and built up each city, including fighting each gym leader to establish them there. And I guess something happens along the line where you have to kind of, fight other stuff and stuff. Like
it's old school Animal Crossing. You become the mayor.
Yeah, in the first game,
that'd be cool.
In the first game, you're building up the Pokédex, right? You've never been, you kind of like rising up the Pokédex for the very first time, Pokeball, all that stuff. In this game, you're building up a city with what you've already done in the first game. And just kind of building up the first. There were no gyms in Legends Arceus, right?
No.
So this will be the first gyms ever established. So it's kind of like a continuation of the first game, here in a big city. Like the very first city they built, where the gym leaders exist or they're established in some sort of way. And I think the storyline will lead that way. So that's
interesting. Like establishing a gym leader system.
Not true.
I'm
just kidding. I'm just trying to keep the heat up.
I know.
Got to keep the heat. So, so setting the rumors aside, the original topic that was before those rumors didn't happen was supposed to be crazy Pokemon theories. I'm not going to say anything because I don't know enough about Pokemon.
No, do
know any crazy theory.
Say it.
So does anyone want to present just a single one?
With your whole chest, say one.
Eric, make one on the internet.
Yeah. Oh, go ahead.
Go ahead, Flam.
Oh no, I was just gonna say. So like, what do we have? 3 according to Centro Fart or whatever. Sorry, I'm really I love dunking on them.
I can tell.
So
I will. Most of
you
what
feel
they
like
talk
one of my
about
haters,
is
except for them.
It's just sharing what other people have said. Like they're rarely like bring out their own personal info.
Yeah.
The rumor was just that there's 3 games in development for Switch 2, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
And that game,
in that game, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure I could see maybe like it depends on like what is it really developing for it, or is it just developing the DSSL or whatever? What you were saying, like is it just making it so it can be compatible on Switch 2?
DSL would be crazy. That would be
whatever the acronym you just brought up a second ago.
DLSS, Deep Learning Super Sampling.
Thank you. Appreciate it. No problem. I could also see spin-off games. So like I was saying, Pokemon Cafe or like a Pokepark type deal. That would be really cool. That's just my hopeful side of it. And then of course, do they qualify the 2 games, like red and the blue? Do they qualify those each as one game being developed, or is that a package deal? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, so it's like not to.
Yeah. So I'm sure at least one of those is going to qualify as Gen 10, because we're current generation is 9. And then I don't know, it would be really nice to see some spinoff games that aren't just Arceus, because we haven't gotten a lot of like good Pokemon spinoff games. Like we don't have any more Pinball. We don't have
new Pokemon Snap's incredible.
Yeah, Snap is great. That's like, well, I'm saying that like besides that, like what other like good Pokemon spinoff games are there on Switch?
Arceus
Pokken Tournament.
Is
The
Arceus a spinoff though? I guess.
Yeah,
it's like
I don't know if they actually consider
It's
it.
a mainline
I would
game.
qualify it
Yeah,
as
it's
like a
probably
parallel
mainline.
to the
It's-
main line. You
It's
know,
mainline. It's literally mainline.
Yeah, did they call
Yeah,
it? Yeah, I'm pretty sure they called it mainline.
Yeah.
So.
But so is Let's Go
Anyways.
Pikachu and Eevee. So you know.
Yeah. Hey, don't insult.
It's not. How is that an insult?
I like Let's Go because you were acting like, oh well, like, oh yeah, so is Let's Go. Like you were.
Well, all I'm trying to say is that there's obviously variety with the mainline series.
Sure.
I would qualify if it can directly transfer to Pokemon Home. It could be. It should be considered mainline.
So if I can transfer to Pokemon
Go
Home, that means I'm mainline.
Yeah, exactly. You're hacked in the main.
That's
frame.
it. The very first Pokemon I get in the next game, I'm gonna name it Nondress Restart just so I can transfer.
I want to go back to the idea of like a Pokemon Coliseum Stadium kind of thing though, because right now, like we're looking at a scenario where we don't actually have the repeat of the 3-year generations.
Mm-hmm.
That's not guaranteed yet. Like maybe Legends ZA comes out January again, right? And then they still come out with Gen 10 next November, but it doesn't look like that right now, right? And so if that happens, we could be looking at the first 4-year gap between generations in a long time. And so that kind of puts us in a weird situation because when it comes to the competitive format for Pokemon, they haven't gotten a significant update in a while. So what are they going to do? Legends was not a multiplayer game. Legends ZA might be, but Arceus wasn't. So could there maybe be a spin-off title, maybe like a Stadium Coliseum thing that could also update the competitive format?
That would be neat. I just don't know. The Pokemon Company does not like the VGC. They only like them for I don't know. I'm sorry. I'm very not deep ingrained in the Pokemon community, but I know a lot of the like nuance of the stuff, and I would think that would be awesome. But I think because like the whole point of the stadium games was, oh, Pokemon are on the big TV now, you know. That was like their selling point. And I don't see, at least on like Game Freak's development side, a selling point of like, why should we dedicate our time and resources to a stadium game that
it would be outsourced.
The mainline games already. You see what I'm saying? Like,
it would be cool.
I would love it. I just don't think it's. I think it's like
I totally
lower on the totem pole.
I totally agree with you. Right? This is wishful thinking, but there are other like I'm just kind of bringing up arguments for why they can maybe go back to something similar. And maybe there's a way to differentiate enough to where it still matters, right? Because the competitive format would just be one reason. If they focus more on like the mini games, for example, maybe it's not a stadium game. Maybe that's why I kind of brought up Pokemon Olympics. Like I would actually be super down for like a Mario Party style Pokemon based game. Like the mini games of Pokemon Stadium 1 and 2 were so damn good. I love playing them at Minnesota Day. I have some friends over. We have some drinks. I almost like it more than Mario Party.
And there was mini game type like side games in like the mainline games for a while, like in Soul Silver and
that when Typhlosion would like break the plates,
and like the little racing and stuff. That would actually be very cool, and that I could see being a selling point as like a little bonus, Mario Party type game. I don't know if it'd be like a board game per se, but like a mini game arena type vibe.
Watch that be the
really
first
cool.
Switch 2 Pokemon game.
That would be neat. Not as the first one, but it'd be neat. But yeah, that's my Pokemon theories. I don't know. They have disappointed me in the past so often that it's hard to get my hopes up.
Eric, you did a smidge of research. You Googled.
Yeah, I did.
So give me your crazy Pokemon theory that you know nothing about, but sounds crazy.
There are two, but
just one. Just give me one.
Yep. The fun theory of we know that Mewtwo is supposedly a cross between Mew and human DNA. But then that also then pulls in, this is where it kind of goes a little bit goofy for me anyways, is this also pulls in Ditto because that is actually a failed upgrade between Mew and Mewtwo. And the supporting evidence is like they have the same type of stats. They're both the same weight.
Yep.
They're both the same color in both normal and shinies.
That's actually crazy.
And I think that was it for the different things that I've seen in there. So I thought that was kind of pretty cool.
So maybe add some fuel to that fire, right? there are certain places where Diddles are all over the place, right? Mew's like supposed to be an incredibly rare creature.
Yep.
So like, but what's kind of interesting about that is that if they wouldn't like, how many times would they have a failed Ditto experiment? I mean, actually, in theory, it could happen a lot, but Ditto's all over the world. But what's also interesting about Ditto is that Ditto can be used to make babies with almost every Pokemon. So maybe you got Dittos just spreading like wildfire.
And they're both genderless too.
And then also Mew is constantly like regarded to be the progenitor Pokemon, to have the every DNA of every Pokemon, and then Ditto could become any Pokemon.
Yep.
Well, there you go.
I love that theory. That theory is wild. I believe 100% it's true. I don't care what Nintendo says.
It's one of the things I'll never comment on.
There's another one that bothers me. I just want to get my facts straight on it. It's
the Mew underneath the truck.
Oh, that one. There is a way to actually get Mew in the original Pokemon games, but it's an exploit.
Yeah.
It's not. I don't remember if it had anything to do with the truck though, but I do. No. I remember the theory. Like I remember
that was like a schoolyard theory.
Yeah.
You know, I burnt out my battery so much trying to get Mew to appear under the truck, and that was like during the time where the internet was not as reliable as it is now. So I'm like, there's nothing to fact check this with.
Yeah,
I think you're lying.
You know, in Ocarina of Time, you can not only beat the Running Man, you can get the complete Triforce.
Yeah. I remember there was one theory about that where it's like, oh, if you go to where Zelda is before she goes away and you ask her 100 times, that she gives you the Triforce of Wisdom. And then you can go beat Ganon and get the Triforce of Power, and then you have the complete Triforce.
And then someone put that fake video up of beating the Running Man, and that just made the internet go nuts. Oh, it is possible.
And then, do you remember the theory? Sorry, like Zelda theories is just like thrown over this. The Pyramid of Power in the desert in Ocarina of Time. Have you heard that one?
Oh, yes, I have. Yeah.
Man, that one was crazy, but it turned out it was just like the limitations of the wall of the game. Like, oh no, that's the Pyramid of Power. It's upside down. It's like, no, that's the corner of the map.
Dummy. We need more like cryptic internet theories like that. It's just so sad because
L is real, baby.
L is
real. L is real.
Yeah.
But there was one for Ocarina of Time. What was it like? There was like a unicorn statue or something.
Yep, the unicorn statue that's underneath Zora's Domain.
Yeah.
Yep. So did you look up your thing, Andres?
Oh yeah, it's not that. Well, it's actually there's layers to that. And feel free to add in details that are maybe missing, right? But I feel like addressing this one just because it kind of annoys me. Because there's like a TikTok going around that's like confusing a whole bunch of people.
Oh man, they're the reason why spam costs $3 now.
Right. So I'll explain the actual theory first, and then I'll explain the bullshit. Right. So and again, I may be missing some pieces, so feel free to plug it in for me. But basically, in the original games, there's a plot line where there is a Pokemon that died, right? And basically, a Cubone lost its mom, right?
Okay.
Right, but so the idea is that the reason it's wearing it, the skull it was wearing is the skull of its mother, right? And so when it evolves, it becomes a Marowak, and the skull kind of fuses to its body. And what's interesting about this is that in Alola they added an Alolan variant with a fire ghost Marowak, right? Which just kind of adds a little bit more like lore to that. But the theory is that that Cubone would have grown into a Kangaskhan.
Yep.
Right. And the skulls match up. Yeah. But where the bullshit TikTok video comes in is that people are out here being led to believe that was a Charizard head.
No.
What?
No. Like I've seen that theory before, but then it's being spread around by TikTok. It's like, oh, it's a Charizard head.
I even know
Charmander.
I even know that's not.
Yeah, but the Cubone Marowak Kangaskhan theory that has like a lot of weight to it from back in the day because of like there was a bunch of like conceptual and developmental numbers that went in line of that. Oh, Cubone was supposed to be first in line to the Pokedex leading up to Kangaskhan and whatnot, but then they changed all that, and then people were like, oh, when you remove the Cubone head, it kind of looks like that baby Kangaskhan in the Kangaskhan's pouch. But like that theory, I do believe. And then there's another Pokemon theory that I remember saying that, Dratini, Dragonair got swapped in its evolutionary line to that of, it was supposed to evolve into Gyarados. And that Magikarp was supposed to evolve directly into Dragonite. And people are like, oh, because of similarities. But then we find out it's BS because of the legend of, whatchamacallit, the carp that will go up the waterfall and then become a Gyarados, which is referenced in Pokemon Snap. But that was just one that I remember.
It's interesting because like the little like I don't know if you call them whiskers or antenna, like they match up to the whiskers
with the dragon. Yeah,
yeah,
that's why.
Yeah. It's interesting for sure.
Okay, cool. All right, I think we can probably move on to our next topic here, Mr. Thunder Steve 85. You want to introduce? What are we talking about?
Yeah, absolutely. All right, guys. So we are discussing Donkey Kong, the hopes and dreams. Okay. And did you guys know this November 21st will be 30 years since Donkey Kong Country came out?
Damn.
So I got to hope and dream that we're going to get Donkey Kong Country, right?
Yeah.
30th. I mean, it's 30th anniversary. Maybe, but then I'm a little hesitant to think that could happen because what the hell's going on at Retro Studios?
Metroid Prime 4, apparently.
Right.
Allegedly.
Yeah.
We know everything that's been going on there. So we have to question, do they have resources that are working possibly on a Donkey Kong game that are not working on Metroid? Because I feel like Metroid obviously is taking precedence at this point, considering everything that happened, the delays. You'd think all resources would be pulled to work on an aspect of Metroid. So then it's like, all right, well, if Retro's not doing it, are they going to have somebody else possibly?
Honestly, I think that, this is sitting in the back of my mind ever since Super Mario Odyssey got revealed. I think Nintendo, like EAD, can make a really good Donkey Kong game. And I'm like, why not just make a Donkey Kong game-esque in the style or possibly connected to that of Odyssey, right? I think a game like that could work incredibly well. And that's why, when I first saw that Super Mario Odyssey trailer in New Donk City, I saw all the Donk stuff in the background. I'm like, is this a new Donkey Kong game? And then Mario comes out of the manhole. I'm like, oh, it's a Mario game. Oh, it's a Mario game. Okay, cool. Right? But I think, if Retro Studios is not doing anything, because, I love Donkey Kong Tropical Freeze. That's actually one of my favorite games. But I would like to see Nintendo internally try their own hand at a 3D Donkey Kong game that's not it's not quite Country, it's not quite DK64, but I feel they could definitely do something that would be really, really cool. Bring back the other Donkey Kong, all the other Kongs, Diddy, Cranky.
Yeah, I love that.
Lanky, all that stuff.
I like
that. Chunky. Chunky's alive.
There's Chunky. He's good.
Chunky's not dead.
I'm ready to see a 3D, a full 3D Donkey Kong.
Oh, absolutely.
Did you guys know that the Mario team made Jungle Beat?
Wow.
Yeah. After Jungle Beat, they made Mario Galaxy.
Well, didn't they?
Jungle Beat is rad too. That's a really cool game.
Jungle Beat is.
It's the only side-scrolling Donkey Kong game that's not a country.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
Yeah, but it has behind the shoulder boss fights, and you can play with the bongos. Yeah.
I was like, is that the bongos one?
So there's 3 different Donkey Kong games on GameCube. There's Donkey Konga 1 and 2, which are basically just rhythm games, right? That are based off Donkey Kong. And then there's Donkey Kong Jungle Beat, which is literally a side-scrolling Donkey Kong game with 3D boss fights.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, it's really cool.
There was a Donkey Konga 3.
Did it come out only in Japan?
No, yep. Okay. It was only in Japan.
Yeah.
I had to make sure about that. I'm like, wait a minute, I'm pretty sure there's a Konga 3. And I'm like, yeah.
Wow.
That game was fun.
Yep.
Actually. I enjoyed it.
I mentioned it in the not this podcast, at the back of the Prime podcast, about what I want to see for Donkey Kong, and I said I want to see an open jungle. That's it, an open jungle, not open world, open jungle. There's so many really cool, just swinging from vine to vine, doing
like a Spider-Man type thing.
Yeah, kind of.
Yeah.
That would be so cool.
You have
Mike. That
you can
I was gonna say, go ahead.
Yeah, no, go ahead.
No, finish that.
Yeah, just basically kind of Spider-Man mechanics and just sliding on the trees and whatever.
Tarzan
completing things around the entire kind of section, and then
we know about the canceled game, right? You guys all heard about that already?
Yeah.
Well,
yeah.
So that's really what spurred the topic was Vicarious Visions. Yep. Did you know gaming? We talked about this a long time ago on the old
more than a year
show.
ago.
And funny thing is, I was referenced in the damn Did You Know Gaming video. Didn't see that coming.
Actually, some of us were
cool.
clipped in the video.
Yeah,
they took a clip of the cast and
took a clip of the podcast and put it in there. But so that was kind of neat because I've been a fan of Did You Know Gaming for a long time. But they did their own research and ended up talking to several, like a dozen plus developers who used to work at Vicarious Visions that did confirm this project existed. It was in the work for about 6 months, and it was pitched to Nintendo. So it very much was a thing. It wasn't called Donkey Kong Freedom. Freedom ended up being the code name. So that's where the confusion with the naming of it came from, but that's not really too big of a surprise. But it was a 3D Donkey Kong game, and it was on an island, and it did involve swinging and sliding on vines and all this stuff, or tree trunks, or whatever you actually were sliding on. So it's kind of cool to find out that this long-standing rumored thing was actually being made by Vicarious Visions at one point. But obviously it ended up, not going forward. It seems like not every person knows the exact details. Like, was Miyamoto happy with it or not? There's a lot of conflicting details with that. But it is one of those things where the other parts of the rumor that nobody knows, because that would be inside Nintendo, would be, did Nintendo decide off of that to then make a new Donkey Kong game internally? Because there's been this rumored Donkey Kong game aside from this for years. There's been a rumored Donkey Kong game that supposedly was made by some sort of offshoot of the Mario Odyssey team. And that's just an old rumor from like 2-3 years ago.
Yeah.
And it just kind of went away because there was never like any rumor on when it was going to come out, just that it was happening. Nate the Hate was one of the people on it and others, and nobody's really like said it's not happening still. Just did it get moved to Switch 2? Is it coming this year?
All I'll just say is that
it's done and they're sitting on it. I bet
that could be too.
Let's remind ourselves how long we waited. We waited for Bayonetta 3 when that was announced back in 2017. Let's also remind ourselves that we're still waiting for Metroid Prime 4. So the Donkey Kong game wasn't even announced, right? It was just rumored. So if it's in that kind of conversation of like Bayonetta Metroid, I don't think it's that crazy to think that they're just still working on it. But obviously, you wait 5 years. Eventually, Nintendo is going to probably go back to Donkey Kong, right? So it's kind of, you could maybe make the argument the rumor almost doesn't even matter because at some point they're going to revisit it.
Yep.
But it is interesting kind of thinking about the canceled project because as Mike was bringing up, like playing in a Donkey Kong game where you swing through the vines like Spider-Man, but from the rumor from the canceled project, right? Vicarious Visions had experience with Tony Hawk Pro Skater. And so their big like gimmick was to like build up momentum, get higher and higher, and then start sliding around tree branches, like grinding on rails, like in Tony Hawk's Pro Skater. So imagine like Spider-Man swinging mechanics and Tony Hawk grinding mechanics in Donkey Kong in a dense, beautiful jungle. Like that.
I want to echo that because Mike, I love your idea about the open jungle and swinging, and Andres, like those points about what that team's known for.
Farming, like we need don't forget farming for the cozy people.
Farming too, but another thing I would love to see, because I would really love the return to the more kind of open world platforming Donkey Kong game. And Nintendo's taken a lot of liberties with innovating their IP. We talk about this all the time, how they've innovated with Zelda and Mario in recent years and Fire Emblem. I want to see them take Donkey Kong to the next level. The side scrollers are phenomenal. Love Tropical Freeze, love Country Returns, all those games. But I would love to see the things you guys are talking about, but also larger than life bosses and maybe some Shadow of the Colossus style, climbing up these huge bosses, cool. Banging them on the heads, and just really cool, larger than life, swinging up, grinding the ramps, landing on the big boss, climbing up. Yeah, I don't know.
I feel like it would be something cartoonish, like what is it, Forgotten Land, like Kirby. I don't think it would be like easy like that, but I think I could see them leaning into that art style, if you will.
I have one that's kind of way out there. What if Nintendo, I don't know how much they've actually dabbled in this type of game. What if they made it like a roguelike? Where they brought in like all the different, Kongs into a roguelike.
No. Why do I like the idea of like every Nintendo IP as a roguelike? It all just sounds good to me.
There's that.
Because roguelikes are just fun.
Yeah, it just sounds like a great idea. I like it.
Didn't they do that with Splatoon? There's like there's the DLC, right? It's like a roguelike.
The DLC is.
I have a feeling like if this Donkey Kong game that was rumored exists and comes out, like it's probably going to be. I think it's probably going to be in a side scroller, just because it seems like the safer play. And if it's made by the team that if it's not, even if it's made by Retro Studios, okay, well they can have multiple projects. This would obviously not need as big of a team as like a Metroid Prime 4 would. So that's possible there. Or even if it's made by another team at Nintendo that makes another franchise, well, they probably have to get back to that franchise. So I just sit back and go, that's probably what we should expect, but I want it to be a 3D Donkey Kong game. That's why the Vicarious Visions stuff really irks some people, because we just want another 3D Donkey Kong game.
That game would have sold.
Maybe they go back
and
to
we now know that there was a chance that it could have happened.
So dumb. Let me think about it. Had they had a 3D Donkey Kong game with a new concept like that was done well, right? Vicarious Vision has a good track record of quality, and Nintendo was actually excited about it from all accounts, right? We don't know how excited, but at least a little excited, right?
They didn't hate it.
Had the game come out within the first couple of years of Switch, this game would have sold like, I don't know, I feel like at least 5 million. That's probably like lowballing it. Like this would have been a big deal game.
I think it could have. It might have. I would say even now, like today, if they had a 3D one come out, I would start to go like, hey, I mean, I'm expecting Kirby Forgotten Land numbers if it's on Switch.
I was saying that game is selling really good.
Yeah, I mean, it's almost at 8 million right
Kirby?
now.
Yeah, Kirby leveled up.
Yeah, I mean, it's literally the best selling Kirby game, and the best selling one before it was the first one. So
I think Donkey Kong might have more potential than Kirby.
I think it does too.
I think there's a hunger.
I understand your point though. Like if Forgotten Land could hit 8 million, why couldn't a 3D Donkey Kong?
I'll also say this.
Yeah, they just need a new.
I think there's reason to believe, and I know we'll get to the Nintendo Direct stuff later, but that Donkey Kong could be one of the games in the second half. One, because I think there might be a couple new games, and this wouldn't be considered like a top tier, upper echelon game that they put a huge amount of money into, in my opinion. But it will be a high quality product, and one that could actually sell decent in tandem with the theme parks.
You just stole my
that coming out.
You just stole my line. I was about to say that.
Well, that's literally what I was trying to build to, was the theme park thing.
The movie.
Yeah, later this
possible movie stuff. Yeah.
And then Mario vs. Donkey Kong. Hey, remember Donkey Kong?
Yeah.
They literally put that game out.
They already put the seeds for Mario vs. Donkey Kong in the Mario movie. They're still not friends. They're still kind of clashing on each other a little bit. Yeah, what they were saying, Super Nintendo World is opening in Japan later this year. 2025 is opening in Hollywood and here in Orlando. So 2025 is a perfect year for
the Donkey Kong ride, except in Orlando it's the whole park because it's not open yet.
Yeah.
What if we got an Avengers style Donkey Kong versus Mario movie? That'd be crazy. Sorry, I heard him
Smash
say
Bros.
that.
Andres, I'm taking you in.
Yeah,
from the top rope.
All right, so this question is actually for Mike. How were you able to get Mario to visit your studio? I see him.
He's chilling.
He looks quite.
He's just sitting down there, just enjoying
that's a nice chair you got there.
And technically, there's a Mario in my studio. Charmander killed him though, so he's laying dead behind him.
Whoa!
If you move that little glowing ball back there is a rip Mario.
What glowing ball?
In my background, not yours.
Oh, okay, yeah.
I'm also dating Samus. She's a control freak. She won't let me move.
So that chair, that chair cost me $10.
Oh, really?
No.
Nice chair.
From where?
I went on Facebook Marketplace and
okay.
Oh man.
It was when I went to find it, it was like this big mansion. This person had we just put it in a guest room. Nobody ever used it, but we just want to get rid of it. Like, oh, okay, I'll take it. Take it from you.
$10.
$10.
Yeah.
Anyone else want to add some DK love in here? Some expectations?
I could give you another dream I have.
We all have dreams.
It's a simple dream. I want Nintendo, to, if we're only going to get mostly remasters this year, right? I would like a Donkey Kong remaster collection from the GameCube era. Give us the Conga games and Jungle Beat HD upscaled all in one package. I'd be in love with that. And give us the option to buy the bongos.
Redistribute the bongos.
Yeah.
There we go.
There we go.
How else is
Nintendo kind of hard?
If Nintendo wants to hit those net sales, that high number, they got those bongos. I'm sure it'll make a big difference. that's me being sarcastic, but you know, yeah, I still love it.
All right. Well, I think we can probably move into one of the two biggest topics of the night. We'll have Andres restart. Go here. What's your topic, buddy? You even remember?
Hold on.
He doesn't know. He doesn't know.
It's about Nintendo Direct.
It's in the thumbnail.
He doesn't know.
No, I got it. I just wanted to read off. I wanted to read off.
You don't know. You don't know the story.
So basically, what's kind of funny is that the topics we're about to discuss, right? Like it comes from this tweet. The first half of the tweet is what you're going to discuss, and I'm going to open the second half with the second half of the tweet here. Yes. Can I screen share, or does it even matter?
You can screen share. Just make sure you zoom in. Let's show the people. Let's show the people.
All right, I'll.
You never know who. There's people that don't go on Twitter. They don't know what's up.
That's true. Yeah, but I've read this like 4 times already, so I always kind of feel like, oh, am I overdoing it? But anyway, all right, here we go. So Nintendo announced like a day and a half ago, we will be holding a Nintendo Direct this June regarding the Nintendo Switch software lineup for the latter half of 2024. But please be aware that there will be no mention of the Nintendo Switch successor during that presentation.
That's fake.
Wow.
Yeah, I mean, some people still call that clickbait, which is wild. But yeah, so what's crazy about this is that we have a Nintendo Direct that has been confirmed most likely more than a month in advance.
That's crazy.
And that's leading some people to kind of think that maybe we're looking at a scenario where this Direct is like a really big deal. I personally have been trying to caution people to not like think this is the biggest, bestest Direct ever. I think they just kind of said that to sort of show commitment to Nintendo Switch 1 still, because they just announced Switch 2. That said, I think this also suggests that this is probably a general Direct, and they said it's for the latter half of 2024. Yeah. So it's going to be a decent Direct. It's not going to be a mini. It's not going to be a partner. And when we also take a look at Nintendo's financials, they're still pretty high. They're still trying to sell 13.5 million Switches, which is like it's a less than 20% drop over the prior year. Same thing with net sales. And so that implies that overall Switch hardware and software sales are going to still be pretty darn healthy without Tears of the Kingdom, without Mario Wonder, without the Mario movie. And this first half of the year has been kind of dull. So what are they going to put out in the second half that's going to get them close to actually hitting that forecast? I think that does imply that they have some solid plans.
That's
right.
Yeah, Metroid Prime 4 would be crazy.
I'm telling you, if they release a Metroid Prime 4, like I have it in my head, like the version I have in my head, like just a fully open zones, Battlefield style, where a lot of Federation fighters can go in there and just fight, and then have Metroid in your ear, just directing you places and fighting against other aliens, just in multiplayer mode, and then have the additional story mode, but just bigger and badder. You know, they could take Metroid to just make Breath of the Wild make it bigger, just kind of grander, instead of just kind of like the they have to break the mold to make that game a better, bigger game. But I think it ends up being
no. I agree with you, Mike. I think it's possible we get Metroid this year. I'm not confident enough to say we probably will, but I firmly believe the last announcement of the Direct is going to be Prime 4. I could see a cinematic trailer, maybe no gameplay, especially if it's not this year, or if it's not even a Switch game, it's a Switch 2 game. It's just a cinematic trailer with a 2025 logo at the end if it's not this year.
Yeah, right.
And then that gets everyone hyped. But I also see Prime 2 and 3, like this is the perfect time to shadow drop it. If those are indeed coming to Switch, shadow drop it. End the Direct with the Prime 4 cinematic teaser 2025, 2024, whatever. But even if we don't get it, Prime, you made a great point that Donkey Kong could be on the cards for a later year Switch title. And I think that would be a great game for the holiday, especially if they kind of innovate on that one. All in all, I think we're going to get some good ports. Right. Xenoblade is a possibility.
Xenoblade Chronicles X, don't.
Yeah. Yeah, I know.
I've been hurt.
Like,
nah. I've been hurt.
I know. But for me personally, I got to be honest. I think there's a lot of cool stuff they can do. Obviously, they can make the final Switch NSO announcements, whatever the final kind of
Banjo-Tooie.
There we go.
Metroid Zero Mission.
Zero Mission.
Oh, that's a good one.
Call of Duty.
That's a great one. But
Conker's Bad
to be
Fur
honest with
Day.
you guys, I feel like I really don't need much. We got confirmation that we're going to be officially seeing Switch 2 within the next fiscal year.
Yeah.
There's a high likelihood that it will be in our hands in March-ish time. And dude, the hype train is on the way to the station. Get your tickets because it is full steam ahead by the end of this year.
Okay. So,
Can I get an amen?
Let's focus on the direct, though.
Yeah,
Let's focus on the direct.
Yeah, we'll focus on the direct. We'll focus.
I think
Okay.
Nate, I agree with you with the Donkey Kong stuff, especially because when is the theme park open? That's like relatively soon?
So
right?
it depends. It opens in 2025 here in the States for Donkey Kong.
Japan.
That's what I'm saying.
yeah,
Yeah.
Japan's this fall. isn't it?
Japan's is later this year. I think it's August or October.
Yeah, I think it's
It
planned
was
right now to
initially
be right
slated to
before.
open in spring, but they delayed it.
Yeah, they delayed it, and it's I think it's September, and it's now supposedly the museum's going to be happening like right after it too.
Yeah,
I wonder
why
we
they
get a
delayed it.
huge update about the theme park. Like I genuinely think they're just gonna they might that might be like
I mean,
a good 5 minutes of the direct. is just
I'm going to also
showing
say
that
that
thing
I'm
off.
also going to say one reason I think because you said why did they delay it? I think there's an issue with the Donkey Kong ride, and they got to redesign it. They've been running test runs of that ride over and over. We have literal footage of it. I think there's like an actual major design flaw, and so they have to like go back to the drawing board a bit. So 6
Yeah,
months
they lost
delay.
a lot of chimps in the making of that.
You lost a lot of chips.
I do not
Yeah.
approve of animal cruelty. That's
By the way, it's a really cool ride.
The
I
mine cart
bet
keeps
it is
coming
a really-
off the thing, just like in the video games.
So
Diddy Kong quit.
I can talk based on the one here because I have a friend who's working in the construction right now for Super Nintendo World. The Super Nintendo World here is the biggest one out of all of them. It's going to be the biggest one out of all of them.
Yeah, it's opening everything at once.
Yeah, it's a epic universe. You saw the
Team
entrance.
Florida.
The entrance is just massive. It's crazy, like a huge. But their schedule they're right on time. Like everything is going very smooth. And then they just released on Universal Studios on Twitch the actual reveal of the entire park and how it's going to look and everything.
Yeah.
It's awesome. So I'm guessing Donkey Kong alongside with the park could be 2025 game for Switch 2 in the Nintendo Direct, announced in this Nintendo Direct.
But so you're talking.
I could see
You mean like a
game-
cross
Well,
gen?
I'm gonna. You said for Switch 2. I'm just
Wait,
gonna
what-
go out of the limb and say Furukawa's been pretty direct. I don't think he's lying when he says there's not gonna be.
Yeah.
You know what? I realized I said that, and I kind of like hold myself back because
Yeah.
I did say that.
If it was Iwata, I'd be like, yeah, okay, yeah. I mean, it's Iwata. Furukawa's been like very direct, which I appreciate. It's very.
Let me reiterate, but please be aware that there will be no mention of the Nintendo Switch successor during that presentation.
Which doesn't mean it
Reference
can
to the direct.
actually be a game that you just don't know is for the successor.
That'd be
if you
crazy.
want.
Right.
Like
And that's
I've
why I mentioned
speculated
Prime
that
4
Prime
saying
4.
2025.
Yeah,
I mean,
like it
technically
could
every
close
game
the
is gonna be
direct,
part of this too.
and then they could announce like after the direct on Twitter or a few months later. Oh yeah, by the way, Prime 4 is cross-gen. Kind of like how did they confirm Breath of the Wild was cross-gen? Did they do it at the E3 or did they do it later on?
They did it during the investors meeting when they show off the first new art of that. It's like, oh, Breath of the Wild will also come to NX. They did it during the investors meeting. Like they were like very preemptive about that shit.
Yeah, they told us that before E3. We knew.
So
One thing I want to point out about this direct, and like we bring up the fact that they're planning to sell 13.5 million Switches this fiscal year, which is to me incredible. Like that is a lot, especially since they also announced Switch 2 is coming, or at least going to be revealed, or whatever they're going to do. They at least said it exists, which they already admitted, by the way, in the Q&A. They know will affect sales. That he just straight up said we can't pretend this isn't going to affect sales, but we are still bullish that we're going to be able to do this. And I go, okay, well, they also mentioned in the Q&A about they have ideas or plan. I can't remember the exact word, but they have initiatives. Yeah, initiatives, which to me means there's probably a price drop and other stuff involved that's going to help bundles, all that stuff.
The bongos, baby.
But I also think, and the fact that they wanted to announce this June Direct just for Switch for the second half of this year, I think the second half of this year, I've kind of come around thinking that for Switch, it's actually going to end up being a really, really nice second half of the year.
I think so too.
And I think they're because looking at 13.5 million tells me they want to do a PlayStation. They want to maintain momentum of the system heading into the next. And so to do that, you can't just do what you did in the first half of this year. Yeah. Which, by the way, it's not a bad half. We had a game on average every month. It's just we didn't have any like bigger ones. Well, maybe it's because they're all backloading it, leading into the next platform, and that's why I think Metroid Prime 4 could literally be the game this year. They just say, you know what, this thing's been in development since 2017 technically, but if you want to talk about it, probably since late 2018. Which I don't think they were even touching Switch 2 dev kits back then internally. Not saying dev couldn't have switched over and it can't be cross-gen and all this stuff, obviously. But I do somehow think that they maybe looked at what Sony usually does by having that really strong exclusive game right towards the end and go, hey, let's have that game actually be a big deal going into the holidays this year. Also gets Nintendo, because right now, Nintendo's got no reason to even be in the Game Awards this year. That would be the game that'd be like, nope. Now you're in the Game Awards. Now we're going to keep mentioning you. Oh, and by the way, we can keep marketing Switch 2 while we're there, while we're busy winning awards. So I think that could come this year. I think Donkey Kong could actually still come this year too. And that would be like the 2-pack of the 2 new games. Like they did 2 brand new games first half. Brand new. And I know we could talk about they did announce obviously the NES World Championship game. You could argue that's new, but
that's basically a remaster.
Game of the year. Game of the year.
But was anyone else like slightly disappointed by that? Sorry,
no.
Whoa. We rejected that topic. We rejected that topic. That was literally part of the topic.
Oh, my bad.
Anyways, no. Sorry, we had multiple opportunities to choose that topic. We didn't choose it. So no, we are. To me, looking at this second half, I think it's going to be really good. I think those 2 games are possible. It could be something else. It doesn't have to be those 2 games, but I think they're possible, and I don't think that's it. Yeah, we could have a shadow drop of Prime 2 and 3, or they could spread them out or do whatever. But I think things like Zelda remasters back on the table.
Yes,
me too.
I think either Wind Waker, Twilight Princess, or both. I think they're on the table. For I mean, think about what
shadow drop them during June, please.
You can have Metroid Prime 4, a new Donkey Kong, Zelda remasters.
Collection.
Now, alone, those 3 games alone would already ensure this is. Hey, that 13.5 million doesn't sound so insane now.
I got a question. I got a question for you guys about the Zelda remasters. I know we've all been hoping and praying and expecting Twilight Princess and Wind Waker HD, and I certainly hope it comes. Wind Waker is my favorite game of all time to this day.
Yeah.
So I want those so bad. But how would you guys feel? Nintendo's been bringing over like DS and 3DS games. How would you guys feel about a remaster or remake of A Link Between Worlds landing on
all
Switch?
over it? Yep. All over it. Excellent game.
Yes. It's so good.
It's such a good
I'd
game.
be stoked.
Yeah.
I don't think it hits as hard for people as Wind Waker and Twilight Princess, but I'd be really
but
cool.
it could.
Excited.
It could if they play it. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
If it would be if it looked like visually kind of on I don't want to say the same style, but on par with a Link's Awakening, I'd be all right, cool.
Yes.
I remember seeing that on like Good Morning America, and it was kind of crazy. It was kind of crazy, just like I was like, wow, that game got way more mainstream than I thought it would. Yeah. So like I don't know, people in the 2D, I don't know, they like the 2D Zeldas a lot. I think it would go really, really hard.
They do.
Yeah. I will say that of all the 2D Zeldas, that would be the one that would be least hype for me because that's the most recent one. I would prefer any of the other ones.
But it's so good.
It's great. I love it.
I
want like, I don't know, like Oracle of Ages and Seasons.
There is the rumor that says that Grezzo is working on Oracle remasters. And that those might be the games that we get this year.
That would be great.
That would be rad, especially if they announced they were doing that third canceled game.
Oh, Mystical Secret Courage!
Or what if
the Oracle Secrets?
What if it's the only one? They just released a third one.
That would be so wild. It just like is like the Legend of Zelda Oracle of Secrets, and that's like it's ages and
it includes the content, right? Like, but it's that
would be so cool. And then you play the game, and then like it basically presents itself as a bundle, and then you boot up the game, and it's like go down the paths of ages, go down the path of seasons, and then you do both, and it unlocks the secret path.
Beautiful.
Oracle Secret.
I find hilarious. What if they do have this really nice? Just like, by the way, none of the games that we're necessarily talking about at this point are ones that you would be like are Mario Wonder level sellers and stuff like that. Although we hope Metroid Prime 4 possibly could be.
Wind Waker, Twilight Princess could sell like
maybe. We'll see.
10.
We'll see. I hope.
10.
I hope so. They've never done it before.
If it's a collection like 3D All Stars,
well, sure, but we'll see. But what I will note is I keep thinking about this, and I've looked at the lineups of the other platforms because I cover all their events, and apparently there's supposed to be a PlayStation event rumored to happen this month, so we'll see what happens with that. But even with like the PlayStation 5 Pro coming out this holiday, between like potential price drops for Switch and maybe this pretty strong lineup, does Nintendo have a possibility in the final holiday for Switch to win the holiday sales?
I think so.
Oh yeah,
Yes.
I mean, you combine the price drop with a
Especially
pretty
if you-
strong slate.
Price drop
That's
and
insane.
bundles.
Think about that. We're in year 8. That's not supposed to happen.
Yeah, it's insane.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Price drop and bundles. I think it's totally possible.
Yeah,
Wow.
price drop bundles, a decently strong lineup, and I think Nintendo's 13.5 million might not sound so insane, even if they've already announced Switch 2 and they're starting to market it a bit. Won't matter. People, there's already a big install base that'll buy the games anyways, right? Like that's one thing. The games are just going to sell. That's been proven on Switch. The install base is there. They'll buy the games. No one's going to wait to buy games right now if you own a Switch. And to keep the Switch selling, price drop. I mean, look, you make it an undeniable purchase now, second purchase, third purchase for people because you dropped even like I'm not gonna say I could see as an example the Switch Lite being this is insane, $99 this holiday. I don't know they're gonna do $100 price drop on all versions.
You mean the Switch Lite? Oh yeah, that's possible. Yeah,
But like that's the one they target towards kids. They've done that $99 price drop on multiple generations before for the cheapest version.
And Furukawa said that he wanted to sell the third and fourth Switch for a family member. The way they can do that is
make it cheap.
Making another edition one.
Oh, sure. I think another special edition.
Metroid Prime edition.
Metroid Prime 4.
That's what I think.
Yeah.
So yeah. If there's an edition, I'll
take another Zelda one if they do that collection.
Oh yeah,
True.
Something that I'm kind of thinking about, right? Like you look at the net sales, right? The net sales are pretty good that they're forecasting, and they've already clarified that the hardware sales are just for Switch. Like they're not doing
they came directly out. This does not include any potential other hardware.
And I wondered it for a little bit because we did hear that they were referring to it as a Switch Next model, right? But the Q&A,
in the family that they're
they made it really clear, and I thought it was worth considering just because we remember the Game Boy Color, how they included that with Game Boy sales, but it's just Switch.
Yes.
But what's interesting about this is, so how do they get to the 13.5? We assume price drops, but here's the thing about price drops. Yes, that will improve sales, but they also make less money because they're selling it for less. So it's just interesting to seeing how good the net sales are.
Oh,
well,
it's not a criticism. It's an observation.
They are projecting like it's either profits or revenue to be down like 20%.
Yeah.
So a lot of that can be explained by, hey, if you're still planning to sell almost as many Switches as last year, well then then how are you making less money? One, they are projecting a lot less software.
So their net sales, right? They're forecasting a 19.3% drop.
Yeah. I've also seen people use this to argue Switch 2 can't be this year, but we'll get to that in the next topic.
Well, I'm actually arguing the opposite though, right? Like if they're already forecasting a 14% drop with Switch sales, and we're making the assumption that they're going to have to do price drops to even sell that lower number, then they're going to make even less money, right? And we don't have things like the Mario movie, right, or Tears of the Kingdom OLED to boost revenue, right? So
that was huge last year.
So my point is this: if we kind of factor all these things, it seems kind of, in my opinion, obviously, I'm making this as an opinion here, right? But it doesn't seem like they can hit that net sales forecast unless that also is accounting for, that little blip at the end.
Well, I will also note a little blip at the end. Like if Switch 2 did come out in March, just to kind of throw that in there, is that it's not going to, like, we're talking like 2 or 3 million system sales at a time when the system is actually the least profitable is at launch. It's always the least profitable time for a platform. And software on it, there's not a big install base, so the software is not going to sell crazy either. So I actually don't think it would be that big of a bump. Where that, like, you look at the 19-20% stuff, it's like, well, it's really not that big of a deal.
I mean, it's not I'm not saying a big bump, but enough to make the numbers work. That's
No question.
Do you see what I'm sharing? Okay, it's already on. Like so. This is just interesting in relation to what you're talking about, because you look at the beginning years of Switch, right? This is their profit.
Switch is insane.
It's good. This is good relative to the years of Nintendo, but it's not as good as the peak of Wii. But now you look at the second half of Switch and see where we're at now, right? And so Nintendo's currently enjoying this, and they're forecasting just a little bit of a drop, but still probably in that territory.
Yeah. They're forecasting like 2022-ish numbers, which is still insane.
Exactly.
So would a Nintendo Switch OLED Donkey Kong edition be a system seller?
I was thinking
so.
that.
I think
especially because they can use
Would
a
be for
Mario
me.
movie as like a way to promote, because the Mario movie's still like topping charts on streaming services.
Well, they also have the accessory.
I'm glad you.
The bongos also has an accessory.
There we go.
Do you guys think it's possible? Do you think it's possible we get a Donkey Kong movie announcement? Because I thought before they announced Zelda that Donkey Kong was the next one that we were going to see. They already got an all-star playing. They got Seth Rogen playing DK. Everyone loved the character in the movie. It seemed like a match made in heaven. The park's coming. That they're adding on to all the theme parks. I feel like we'd see that movie before Zelda. I don't think we're seeing Zelda till 2027, the earliest.
Ooh.
Yeah, it all adds up for Donkey Kong. Like everything lines up. I agree. Park in the movie in the game.
This gets said every single event, but I would really appreciate a Hollow Knight Silk Song date in this direct. Would be sweet.
That'd be cool.
That'd be nice.
Look,
that game doesn't exist.
By the way, it could be in the Xbox event, because that's like the last time they had it in anything, and Xbox is going on June 9th. But I'm just saying that, like, man, we now have like ESRB ratings. Like, okay, can we just like stop playing so coy?
I want to go back to the Zelda movie real quick. Just a quick little thing, right? Like, I totally get where you're coming from in terms of like expecting it later, right? Especially with how long I have to wait for the Mario movie. But I think it's worth noting that it's a live action, and live actions are in general done quicker than CGI movies.
Way quicker.
Yeah.
Right. That's true. That's true. Wes Ball just finished up his Planet of the Apes. I'm sure they're in really early. I'm sure they're still working on scripts.
2026, the 40th anniversary.
Listen,
in time, right around when Ocarina of Time remake will launch.
Listen,
I do think 2026 is probably.
He's been done with Planet of the Apes since November.
Yeah, I know.
November of last year. He said he was going to take a couple of months break in order to prepare to enter Hyrule. So right now, I'm pretty sure they've already entered pre-production. They can't say much yet, but pre-production is where they finalize the script, they start location hunting, they put the team together, and then they start casting. So I wouldn't rule it out to hear something about the casting this year,
like September.
No, that
2026 is when I see the movie coming out. Even
2026.
Even if we get the Donkey Kong movie as well, it's animated versus live action,
right? Like it doesn't have to be one movie per year.
Yeah,
I mean, I'd
probably
love for
to
it
be like
26.
Marvel someday, right? Like where they have just waves of movies.
Listen, why? Because 2026 is also the projected time where the Lands of Hyrule and Universal Studios plans to open, where the park for Lost Continent used to be. They already closed it down, so now they're working on that.
If the Zelda part of the park is ready, oh my god! Okay,
the Zelda park. Wait, I didn't even know
why
that.
Did you think Aonuma was there, buddy?
Yeah, he was there.
He was there for.
And then the photos got taken off the internet.
Yeah.
But let me just know he was there. Duh. Do you know they're planning Zelda out like that?
And he was dressed like the construction guy.
Overhyped the Triforce in the background. Even though it's construction
of time, yeah.
And let me just mention very quickly. I've already mentioned it, but I'm mentioning it a second time because I'm just excited. There's the Ocarina of Time remake theory, right? Like the idea behind it would to put out some kind of high-profile Zelda game that could be done fairly quick, as a stopgap before the next 3D Zelda years from now. But it wouldn't be able to. It probably wouldn't come out at launch because we have things like 3D Mario, Mario Kart. But maybe about a year or so into Switch 2, which would position us for what? Holiday 2025 at the earliest, but more likely 2026, which is where we're kind of talking about. Close to this movie, close to this park opening. It could be like Zelda Heaven in 2026, which would be a nice stopgap for us until the next one.
And then check this out. To add on top of all of that, with the park opening possibly in like 2026, along with the movie 4th anniversary, a game. If Miyamoto and Nintendo is truly like that ingrained into this movie, like they were with the Super Mario Bros. Movie, I'm pretty sure the Zelda movie is going to be a big hit in certain degrees. And that since it's live action, you know how they do in Disney parks when it comes to characters. They take the design that Link, Zelda, Ganondorf, whoever is in the movie. They hire lookalikes at the park.
Yep.
So, question, because this is obviously a direct topic. Do we think there'll be any movie news in the direct?
No. Really? I thought there would be something.
There might be Mario movie news. Like
I could see like a Donkey Kong one. Yeah, I could see.
Yeah,
that.
I mean, I'm in the part. I don't think we're.
Gamer Classic, you go, buddy.
Okay. No, I was just gonna say I don't think there's any chance we see anything about it, because I was obviously leaning towards 2027. You guys might be right. They might want to really time it with the 40th anniversary and get the movie out by 2026. But I do feel like if it is 2026, it's going to be very late. It's going to be holiday 2026.
Can I say why I don't quite disagree with you, but I start corner. The reason why I say this is because if you put the timeline on when they started talking about the Mario movie, when they first announced we're making a Mario movie, so then when they announced the cast, and then they kind of kept doing directs towards it. Let's say 3 directs a year or to 4 talking about the movie. They just announced the movie. We're working on a Donkey Kong movie stated for 2026. They don't have to say anything else, right? Then give us another direct, announce the cast. Give us another direct, the first trailer, another direct. Same thing what they did with the Mario movie, and they can actually then towards 20. By the time we know it, we're in 2026. And they're gonna give us the movie. So I'm guessing, and I put the movie around March 2026, or kind of summer,
which is less than 2 years from now.
So another thing about this direct, do we think that this is it? This is the final Switch direct?
Yep,
I think so.
It could be.
Not that they won't actually advertise games in other
Switch
directs.
focused.
Yeah,
Switch
focused.
final Switch one only direct.
Yeah.
Or do we think, September they'll just drop another one?
I think
that's
all right. If we're gonna get one in June, I feel like we have the possibility of having maybe one more before the Switch 2 reveal, and then that's when it goes. But I mean, like, I keep calling it E3 time, even though E3 doesn't even happen anymore. Like June time, summer games and whatnot.
Yeah, now it's Summer Game Fest time.
It's June.
Let's stick with that.
So I think that Furukawa was intentional with his announcement, and I think it actually ties into, hey, we're having a direct in June. We're not going to talk about Switch 2. We're having a direct in June, talking about Nintendo.
Yeah,
kind of like focusing on that. It could be the very last one for the Switch, and maybe they might announce games all the way to March of 2025.
I do look at the wording where he's like, hey, there will be nothing Switch 2 in this, kind of indicating that, okay, well, there's going to be something Switch 2 later this year.
Yeah.
And ergo, the next direct might possibly have it. And we've had the whole speculation about how for like the last year and a half now, they've been putting Nintendo Switch in the name of the directs, which they weren't doing before then. So already sort of setting the precedent that they were going to eventually have one that wasn't about Switch. And I do think that Furukawa warning us now is him knowing now that they have announced that they're going to say something in this fiscal year. Expectation every time they have any sort of presentation is going to be it's Switch 2 time, and he knows it. And so he's like, hey, no, not happening this time.
Not this time.
We're not denying it for next time. And so we're just going to kind of leave, unless he's going to announce the direct again a month plus early just to tell us it won't be there again. And they'll be like, okay, I guess you could do that. I don't think Furukawa is going to do that.
I do want to talk about a few more direct things. So there's a couple things I have in mind. One is first party, one's third party. The first party one is Fire Emblem Remake. I think this is interesting because this one's
genealogy of the whole world.
Right. It's been and the rumor comes from the good, like the really credible leakers like Nate the Hate, right? Like, so it's kind of like, all right, we're just kind of waiting for this. But if it's a remake and not a remaster, right? Like that kind of adds a little bit more, ambition behind it, right? So it could be almost treated like basically like a brand new Fire Emblem, kind of like Thousand Year Door, basically, right? Like Thousand Year Door to me is basically a new Paper Mario game. I'm kind of getting the sense that maybe they go in that direction with this Fire Emblem one, and that could be like, a remake for the second half of the year. That would be a fairly substantial game.
They wouldn't. That's been rumored too. Like, as being just done and just sitting on a shelf and just waiting.
And it would be, and then you show that, right? People are like, "Oh, that looks like just a brand new Fire Emblem."
I also want to note about all these things that are supposedly rumored to be done. I don't know if they're all going to come this year. I do think they're going to keep selling Switches during the Switch 2's life, and the games you're going to expect that Nintendo would put out would be like these remasters.
I was going to ask other than Metroid Prime 4, which
it won't be a lot, but I think they'll have like a couple next year, maybe one in 2026, and
maybe
then
January, February.
Because it's kind of what they did with 3DS during the Switch era. Like there'll be a few that sort of trickle out because hey, look, we have a massive install base. We still want to make money off it, and hey, third parties are still going to indie games are still going to put on because it's going to take. I would say probably till the Switch is like a Switch 2. Let's just presume it's out by holiday next year at the latest. It's probably gonna take at least till its second holiday before that install base is big enough now where everyone feels confident that now all our games are gonna sell well if we put it on there.
I bet there's gonna be announcements for games that we're gonna be like, okay, great, Nintendo, we're so excited for this.
Meanwhile, we know about the next year of massive Switch 2 titles coming. And we're like, yeah, thanks for letting us know about. Look, there's another Fire Emblem remaster. You're dropping on Switch.
I'm basically like Fire Emblem remake would be actually pretty exciting to me, but like I'm what I'm getting at is I think there's also gonna be games that will be published by Nintendo that'll be like, okay, if there's literally nothing else to buy and I run into a lot of money, I might do it, but like kind of like another Code Recollection, kind of like Nintendo World Championships NES edition. Like these are games that yes, I'm sure fans are going to enjoy. Or Endless Ocean, but it's definitely like more on the niche side than even like things like Xenoblade or Fire Emblem, right? Well, like I think we're gonna get more of those in this direct, and those might even be like the January, February games. Like there's gonna be a little bit of that. Like one that could be actually a big deal that would not be niche, but I wouldn't buy would be a remaster of Tamagotchi Life.
Yeah,
a lot of people's been wanting that.
That would sell
I can see that happening. I mean, they already did. What was that other one they did?
Miitopia.
Miitopia. So like, I can see that happening, and like not. We keep talking about obviously these bigger ones. There's still going to be smaller stuff like we're getting with the Nintendo World Championships July 18th. So we that kind of figure based on when that timing is, middle of the month. That's probably the July game. But that leaves all these, if they're going to do what they did in the first half,
we have a release
date.
It is a July game.
Yeah, July 18th. Yeah. So if they're going to do what they did in the first half again, average a game a month. Okay, that gives us 5 games they could announce in June. Which, by the way, that's one reason why I think people maybe shouldn't temper your expectations at this one because that's a lot of new games announced for a very short period of time.
Yeah.
And so it might be pretty hype.
Yeah,
I don't know if it's going to be all these big games that we're talking about, but I think some of them will be there. And I do think they're going to have a brand new Nintendo published, like brand new, a game we don't know about officially yet, published every single month the rest of this year for Switch. Yeah.
I'm curious your guys' thoughts on we talked about games that we thought might be announced for this holiday for coming through this Nintendo Direct and the possibility of Prime 4. Maybe Prime 4 is this year, maybe it's next year. But usually Nintendo, even when they do the games are focusing on this half of the year, they always show like 2 or 3, sometimes even 4 games that are beyond the year that go into 2025.
Yeah, Steel Diver HD.
Sure. I'm curious what predictions for
Pokemon
later
Legends
Switch games you expect.
Pokemon Legends ZA because it's already.
Yeah. Do you think that'll be there?
Yeah, it's already announced. It's already announced for Switch.
Yeah,
actually, what's interesting is that we could conceivably have another Pokemon Presents before that Direct.
Yeah, there is that.
Yeah, we really
actually has a possibility.
Yeah. And by the way, they could also announce another Pokemon game to come out this year.
Technically,
yeah.
What about Triangle Strategy 2?
Which, by the way, would explain their bullishness.
Phenomenal.
So I remember Team Asano. Yeah, Team Asano did say that they're going to have some sort of like Bravely announcement this year.
I did see that.
Mm-hmm. Triangle Strategy 2 would be rad. That game's so good.
Yeah,
Bravely the Third.
Dude, everything they've made.
Bravely the Third is possible.
Yeah. They're just
Octopath 3.
Yeah. I mentioned a third-party game that I think could be announced, actually. I think, obviously, I mean, maybe it's not obvious, right? But most of us are assuming Switch 2 is not this year, right? Like based off how
Not
the
this
words
holiday.
it doesn't see. It seems
Yeah,
like
especially with them saying second half 2024. It's like, okay,
it's
we get it. Your
seems
plan Switch this year.
it would have to be a super intentional, really weird. It's not happening. Like basically, it's not happening, right?
And 13.5 mil, gotta have a holiday period.
No.
Right. But the reason I bring that up is just because there's been this expectation that Switch 2 would get Call of Duty, and the deal has been signed already, right? So there's a commitment. So is it not possible that we could see some kind of Call of Duty experience
Call
on
of
Switch
Duty
this year?
I wouldn't even say experience.
This year,
Here's the thing: we don't know the language of the contract, so we don't know if it starts with the next generation system or not. Because we don't know the exact details of the contract. But once it starts, we know it's 10 years.
Mhm.
And the thing is, it's a feature parity version of the current Call of Duty, is how it was worded. So it wouldn't just be like a random version. It would be the Call of Duty coming out this year, and that would already be announced on June 9th.
not Call of Duty Reflex Edition.
We might already
Right.
know on June 9th if
Call of
if
Duty
Call of
Light-
Duty is coming
Light.
to Switch this year, because it'll have all the platforms announced.
So this is what I'm hoping for. I'm hoping that that deal that you're referring to doesn't start until next year.
Yeah.
And to warm us up,
Oh,
they give us a Black Ops collection on Switch this
all
year.
this is 24
That's cool. No, they're just gonna give us a remaster of World of War, and that's it.
I could see that this is just something I thought about. Like, let's say they clarify, hey, the first brand new Call of Duty is going to come to a Nintendo platform 2026, but hey, just to get a jump start this year, the one that I think that makes the most damn sense would be Warzone coming up.
Warzone.
Yeah, that makes the most
Literally,
sense.
it's massive, it's popular, it runs on phones. Get Warzone over.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Because it runs
That
on
would be the
phones.
one to drop later this year. That would give
It
people
runs on
something to play with.
calculators.
So like, and I'm not saying that's what they're gonna do, but it would also fall in line with the hey, a feature parity current version of Call of Duty that is current. It's always supported. It's arguably bigger than their normal Call of Duty games. So
Interesting.
because it's evergreen,
I think
it's one. They've actually successfully created a service Call of Duty game that is working for them. So
Yeah. I think
I
we
got a few
which
games
isn't really a
that are out
surprise
there,
how big
too.
that franchise is that they made it work.
Yeah,
But-
they finally got it. Yeah, they finally worked it around.
I think we might get more than one game per month because I mean this month we got Luminous and Super Mario, right?
we didn't get a game last month, so
Yeah.
Next month?
in,
Well,
in April we did
April,
not get an
we didn't
Nintendo
get
published
it.
game.
In June we have Luigi's Mansion, so
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
when the direct is taking place. So whatever Shadow Drop they decide
Luigi's Mansion 1.
If they shadow drop, we don't know.
I really like
Mansion
Luigi's
1.
Mansion.
to. I'm saying we're not. I'm not saying
Still
we're
good.
going to get. I'm saying we
Yeah.
could get.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know?
Oh, Nintendo, can we not shadow drop Prime 2 and 3? Can we like actually just have a release date?
Shadow Drop only digital version, and then
I don't know, I kinda like Shadow
physically
Drop.
they're
I actually
They
don't want
shadow
them
dropped
drop.
Prime, so I mean, like they're probably going to shadow drop Prime 2 and 3.
I got it. Prime 2 and 3 is a pack in for a pre-order for Prime 4. They did it with
We
Zelda
don't do
before.
that. We don't do that
Sick.
anymore, Prime. We don't do that anymore.
Yeah.
Those were
I
the
would
golden
be-
years. You
I
guys
know.
remember that Wind Waker pre-order?
Yeah, Ocarina of Time and Master.
Master
The
mode.
best
I still-
pre-order
I
of
still
all
have it.
time.
For the Prime thing, I would be really surprised if they wanted to relate Metroid Prime 4 to the
Digital
rest of the
Deluxe version.
series. Like, I feel like they would really want to market it as something that's like, hey, you can play this if you can still play this and not have to have played the other Metroid.
Yeah,
games.
that's the way
They
they're probably
will.
going to do it. I think they
The
might
collection
even-
packet. Oh my god, I
I've
love
even
that.
been of mind that the official
Is that
title
wrapped?
might drop the number 4 the way Dread.
Steve, is
Yeah.
that repped?
Yeah.
NWP
it
cannot
sure
be.
is.
NWP
Bro,
cannot be.
It's like, is that like $1,000 in your hands?
Where is it? Where?
I don't know. I mean,
Yeah,
it's
it
great.
is. It is a sealed
That's
one. Yes.
awesome.
Of the
That's
four
crazy.
Zelda collection
Even,
for the
even
GameCube.
just buying it
Yeah.
on its own is expensive.
Oh,
I think
yeah.
I see it
Sealed.
glowing from here. Actually, now
Yeah.
All you gotta do is get it rated, and it would just be worth a fortune.
that's
Yeah, wow.
yeah. You should get it rated, bro.
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah.
you should.
Get that
Oh,
right.
Oh,
Oh my
that's
god.
the one.
And it's wrapped.
Yeah.
Dude, you need to go get those rated.
No, you should get them
Those
rated. Yeah, like you
Yeah.
should grade them.
are like retirement funds.
I'll
Yeah.
do it for you. I'll do it for
Yeah,
you.
They really are.
Or
I don't
Kenny
like-
K is in your hands,
I
bro.
guarantee the shipping won't go wrong, but I
And the value of those will go up after the Zelda movie.
True.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
disgusting. Oh man, that's gonna be expensive.
Oh man.
Yeah.
I know Thunder Steve, you said you had a couple games.
Yeah, you know what I do? I got a few games that they're out there. You guys tell me what you think. Now, this one is obviously, this is a hope and dream prediction, but it is its 30th anniversary. And I'm talking about Earthbound. I'm talking Mother 3.
They didn't. They put something on, but they didn't put something on.
Come
Instagram.
on, Reggie,
They put-
give us
they put
Mother
something-
3.
they put
I know,
something on
I know, you
Instagram the
know.
other night. They
What'd
did.
they do?
They put something on Instagram the other night. I think I saw one of my friends tweet. I gotta find it. Give me a second.
Bro,
Okay.
I gotta
Mother
find it.
3
Mother 3.
remake.
No, I'm not
Why
even
not?
kidding. Like, hang on. Oh man.
That would
And
be
of
so
course,
fire. That'd be
uh,
sick. I'd be
Japan-
so happy.
Oh, it's
A
Yeah,
Mother 3
Japan
remake or
NSO
just
got
like
it.
a port?
I want to rematch.
Yeah, Japan NSO did get it. They've re-released it in Japan several times.
Yo, imagine if they just got Grezzo to do what they did with Link's Awakening for Mother 3.
Oh,
that art style would
beautiful.
fit.
Yeah.
Graphic.
Oh.
That would fit really well.
sorry. I gotta change my pants quick.
Yeah,
That's
the age rating
a little too wild around here.
18 to 24.
Oh, man.
And then
No
what
key-
about Punch Out?
Okay.
Okay.
Like
Yeah,
a new one or the one from the
Punch
Wii?
Out.
Hold
No,
on,
I'm
Open
thinking-
World Punch Out.
I mean, it could be the Wii one, but just in general, Punch Out would be a
Agreed.
really good game to get on the Switch because of the install base.
Mhm.
It is a good game to throw on there because it could actually garner a lot of sales because of that install base. It'd be a good swan
Jake Paul
song
Punch
game
Out.
Like the real
throw in there.
All right. Yeah, Punch Out. All right. Yeah, that's
mean,
the
I
kind of
think-
game I can see Nintendo announcing.
I mean, honestly, Punch Out is as good of a guess as Endless Ocean was, right? Like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
right?
Right? I was like, Endless Ocean's coming back. What?
So Punch
Yeah.
Out.
And
Let's
then
go.
we're probably
Punch Out
going to
would've
get
been
a Mario Sonic Olympics, right?
It could. Yeah.
Maybe.
You would,
Yeah.
you would hope so.
Listen,
So-
I want to see Kung Fu come
Yeah.
back.
The
Oh, I would love Kung Fu.
the story
Or
was
something
What'd
for
you say,
Excite
Flam?
Bike.
Excite
so
Bike.
the mother
Ooh.
thing
Bring
was
back Kung Fu.
an
Oh.
Instagram story. I think it was posted by Nintendo Japan because it was
Oh.
in Japanese, but they translated it to "This is going to be fun," and it had like the mic from I forget which Earthbound that is, but yeah, I saw somebody put it up, but it's gone. Like I don't know where to find it, and I can't find any news
Watch,
about
it's
it.
just an album drop.
But it's
Yeah.
just like but
Yeah,
they
it
just
could
kind
be an
of-
album drop.
They just kind of alluded to something, so I don't know what
They've alluded earlier this year as well that they're doing something for the 30th anniversary. but
Yeah,
they
so-
haven't
It
revealed.
is.
The sad thing about that is that Mother 3 is actually relatively active still over in Japan. Like this year, we got merch over in Japan. They got the release finally to the Game Boy Color NSO and stuff. And over here, we get jack shit. So
All the plushes,
Yeah.
the little Earthbound
Yeah.
plushies too. Yeah.
Not to be a
All
Debbie
right.
Downer, but could we maybe argue that because they released Mother 3 on NSO in Japan earlier this year, that it kind of kills the idea of seeing like a remake of
no,
it this
no,
year?
no. I mean, Link's Awakening is on NSO.
Right, but I just mean more so about timing.
I would just
Like,
take a translated
next year.
version of
Next
it.
year.
Just a translated version. That's it.
I mean,
would
dude,
just
I'd just
take
take
an
an
official
NSO release at this
translation.
point. I would literally take an NSO version.
For sure, I mean, yeah, I will take it. Yeah.
But there's more money to be made.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll also just throw out, it could be F-Zero GX remaster. It could be. It doesn't have to be that.
Stop,
It would be-
stop. I don't need no Bro, F-Zero.
Yeah.
Keep building on the F-Zero 99 hype.
I
Rebuild
would
the
love-
IP.
I would love
Rebuild the
that.
IP.
I
Let's
think
go.
F-Zero makes the most sense, but I'm just saying it'd be nice to get any
Don't-
other Nintendo racer not named Mario Kart.
I would
Yo,
say,
let
don't you guys have like a bet or something about Nintendo racers in the near future or something like
Give me
that?
some wave race.
That's a Jake thing.
Yeah,
No.
Jake is retired.
All right,
Blue
so-
Storm
That
HD.
doesn't really matter anymore.
Yeah. Let me give you my takes for the Nintendo Direct really quick because you guys have been throwing out a lot of games, but I think there's a good amount of first party and third party games that we haven't really talked about yet. And of course, we got Metroid Prime 4, Metroid Prime 1 and 2, possibly Zelda Twilight Princess, Wind Waker HD. If they're working on a remaster or a remake of Oracle games head by Grezzo, I would love that. Any aspects of final NSO games, Banjo-Tooie, Donkey Kong 64. Yo, how do we have Jet Force Gemini on NSO before that? But I feel there's other games that could fill up those gaps leading to either the reveal of Switch 2 or the rest of the year of what kind of Switch games we have. One big one is Reynaudis, which they finally confirmed is going to be coming out worldwide, because when they first got revealed, it was from that Nintendo Direct only in Japan. And then they confirmed we're going to be localizing it. We're going to have a class. They could talk about Reynaudis over in the June Direct. And then other ones is like Andre said, the genealogy of the Holy War. I'm telling you, they're sitting on so much prospect, like so much different possible IPs and games that they could just bust out. I'm even thinking about like maybe a new Warriors title that's after a Nintendo IP. You know, there could be like a Xenoblade Warriors.
Xenoblade Warriors
would be amazing. And then Xenoblade Chronicles X. Yeah. And then the new Donkey Kong game. I truly feel that if Nintendo really wants to hit those final numbers for the Switch before the Switch 2 comes out, this is the time that we can truly expect a lot of big and otherwise interesting.
It's now or never.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
It's now or never. Yeah, I mean, it's either a really big direct with some really cool shit, or I guess Switch is they're just kind of done. It's just a bunch of.
Yeah, man. What you're telling me is open world Star Fox.
No, I was about to say Star Fox Assault 2. Space. Like, man.
Yeah,
I don't think dinosaur planet. I think there's a higher chance that they would try to revive Zero and bring that back.
No, stop, man. I'm done with Star Fox 64, bro. They remade that game 3 times, and I'm like, why Nintendo? Like, you know how much lore and like so much like exploration could be in terms of the story and the planets of Star Fox. I was even saying this in my chat not too long ago. Like, imagine a Star Fox game where visualize for me a little bit that it's kind of like Persona, but wait, in which that you have all these prospective people that could join the Star Fox crew beyond that of Crystal, Slippy, and Falco. And then like on one side of the day, you go out and do missions. You can accept this Merc mission, you can continue the story, whatnot. And then on your downtime, come back to Corneria, either hang out with Slippy, hang out with Falco, like level them up through social stats. They perform better when they're in the cockpit, or you could do like, you know, combination attacks while you're in the R-Wing and whatnot. And you can hire more people like Bill, Cat, like,
So Starlink Battle for Atlas with social features.
Yes, but Star Fox only.
Well, I mean, you said other random characters. Like
no. Whoa. Cat and Bill are not random. Those are Star Fox characters.
Yes, but I'm assuming there would be new
Panther, Wolf.
There'd be new characters as well.
There's a lot of characters in Star Fox Command. Like, you know,
Command's not canon, bro. That game is demented.
But there's a lot of characters that they could kind of fit in there. There's like 7 endings.
It is a video game.
There's 9 endings, and 5 of them Fox gets cooked, bro. Whoever wrote that game, are you okay? Like, that's what I want to know. Like,
I've been begging for a Zelda game that ends with Link getting cooked. I mean, I just wanted it to happen. It doesn't happen enough.
Well, it just happened at the beginning.
I'm about to leave. Like,
dude, they could have killed.
I'm going home.
The Link could have sacrificed himself to save the world at the end of the Tears of the Kingdom. And what really changes?
Listen, I got a game. I got a Zelda game without Link, and this is Hyrule Warriors. The Imprisoning War, because Link wasn't in the past with Zelda as the main character, and then the other, character.
Mike, check this out. You know how Age of Calamity changed the timeline?
Yeah.
If we get Age of Imprisoning in the beginning of Tears of the Kingdom, instead of Zelda grabs the stone, it's Link that grabs the stone, and then he goes to the past, and then that's Age of Imprisoning.
That's a good
dun dun dun. I just want to. I'm gonna keep saying this every time Warriors comes up. I want an original Hyrule Warriors sequel. I want Link back. I want Sia back.
Oh yeah, from the original. I would love that. Well, I mean, did you play the DLC? Like, Sia does come back.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So Sia's fine.
That's what I'm saying. Let's get a sequel. Anyways, we
get a Warriors game, Metroid edition. You know, just like shooting aliens, like
Metroid Prime Hunters.
Let's get into our last topic here. This is obviously the one that everyone won't shut up on the internet about, which makes a lot of sense because it ain't rumors anymore.
Yep.
This ain't us just speculating away, although there'll be some speculation, of course, because it's real. Nintendo has officially confirmed a Switch successor is coming, and not just coming, they will have an announcement about it at some point during this fiscal year.
Although you still get comments about people saying, I won't believe it until Nintendo confirms it.
And then they come like, yo, you know that meme where it shows the guy in the sunset and his like chains are breaking? Like, that's all of us. Like, finally, man.
Yeah. No, they want to see it in the video. They don't even believe Twitter. They want the video.
And
It's so funny because like this one guy was like, "Oh, it's mistranslated." I'm like, "What do you mean it's mistranslated? This is like straight from Nintendo, bro."
Yeah, this is literally not machine translation.
Yeah, this is not Google Translate. This is like
in English tweet by Nintendo. It's Furukawa, remember?
This is Furukawa.
Clickbait.
Yeah, that is probably clickbait. Furukawa, I guarantee you did not type up that. He saw it. He approved of it. But I don't think he's the one that typed it up.
I'm pretty sure in the video I made where it was just about like the announcement and analyzing it, I saw someone say clickbait. I'm like,
yeah.
If this is clickbait, what isn't?
No, yeah, dude.
Right.
I had someone say it in one of my comments, and I was like, "Oh, cool. Well, then you're saying Nintendo's clickbait. So at this point, everything's clickbait." No, actually, the reason I was is because I put the word reveal at some point this year. But I'll explain why I used the word that they will reveal it in some point this fiscal year, which was not Nintendo's word. They said an announcement, is because they brought up specifically in the tweet how like they announced the NX, the Switch originally in March of 2015. Mm-hmm. This was that kind of announcement. They just announced the platform, publicly announced it. It exists. It's coming. That's what March of 2015 was. It was a public announcement that something's coming, and we're going to call it NX. Not right now. They're calling it Switch successor. Yep. I do think that we're not going to get a code name. I think the fact that they said Switch successor tells me this president doesn't give a shit about code names. Screw that. He's not putting that out publicly. Yeah. Doesn't think we need to know that.
You don't like Project Dolphin?
There's a chance we might find out the code name from developers sometime in the next couple of weeks. I've heard some rumblings that since Nintendo isn't going to put it out there, that they don't care. They might just throw it out there since Nintendo's not going to use it for marketing purposes anymore. So we'll see what happens with that. Still, obviously, be a rumor until it's confirmed when it does happen. But the fascinating thing I think about this entire topic is. I've seen a lot of people in the internet. Well, now that it's announced, finally everyone can stop talking about it. I'm like, do you know
how much
that it's like the opposite?
Yeah.
They just gave a green light to every Nintendo fan to start hyping up the system.
Yeah,
they just told us it's coming.
Yup.
So,
I really love thinking.
What are you guys thinking right now?
Like, it's going to be in my hands.
I was so excited. So I made a video. I got it out within a half hour of the announcement. I was so damn excited about both aspects of the tweet, the thing and the direct, that
you clunked on your keyboard and you had to reshoot.
I was shaking, and I don't shake an excitement very often. Now, granted, I also was sleep deprived because I stayed up late, but I was shaking, maybe a little caffeinated. Either way, I had to sit there and literally meditate for 10 minutes to calm myself down to even record the video. So that's where my level of excitement is at the moment on a system we still technically don't know anything other than that it exists.
Listen, when I found out, I was recording a sad video, okay? Because the first tweet I saw was, Furukawa said that we will be focusing on providing the third and fifth Switch per household or whatever. Like, oh man, no Switch 2, nothing. So I was actually recording the video, and I'm like looking to Twitter live there, and all of a sudden I saw the tweet from Furukawa while I was recording, and I reacted live. I didn't even edit it. I just uploaded the video with nothing, no edit done. I think like literally seconds after because it was seconds. It showed the seconds after the tweet was out. I lost it in the video, and I just loved it like that.
I was in bed. I was just scrolling my phone because I knew that we were going to get the financial results, right? So I was on Twitter just kind of looking, right? And I see the initial stuff and I'm like, oh, okay. And then I start seeing people saying, see, I told you nothing was going to happen. And I'm like, oh, fuck. And then I saw one more tweet. And I saw the Japanese version, right? But I saw that it said Nintendo Switch in the Japanese text. And I was like, wait. Clicked on it, saw the English version. And I was like, oh yeah. There you go.
Dude, I was texting Andres on Twitter and through text message on phone because I was so excited. I'm like, dude, that's real. It's happening. What is going on? I'm like, I hope I didn't wake you up. Nah, you had to be awake.
I was awake.
On the off chance, I think a lot of us were awake.
I actually recorded the video that night, but I decided just to reshoot in the morning. I was like, it's fine. I'm not going to rush it.
Yeah.
I was in bed on Twitter.
I
I'm
rushed.
just waiting for the news to hit, and then it hit. And I'm like, okay, now I'm definitely not getting to sleep. This sucks.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
But I was
didn't fall
happy,
asleep
you
till
know?
like 6 a.m.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Yeah. All right, guys. I think that's Switch too, right?
That wraps it up. You got nothing else to say.
Switch 2 is coming.
Whoa,
Hooray!
whoa,
It's Christmas.
So like, no,
When,
let's start
when are
with
they
this.
going to announce?
When do we think they're announcing this thing? And do we think
September.
it's coming? Do we think
September.
it's coming?
September.
September.
Do we think it's coming this
September.
fiscal year?
October.
No, this fiscal year?
Yes.
March.
Yeah, September for
I
a
think.
March release. 6
Yeah.
months.
So
lead up.
everyone's just like, it's coming March.
So
Six
well,
months pre-order
all
start.
right.
That's
I'm
what the
gonna-
rumors state, by the way, at the moment. But.
Yeah, but so I feel like what's really interesting is over these last few months, because Nintendo's been so quiet, I feel like we've been burned so many times with the rumors from apparently even credible like rumor people, right? Like, so I'm just like very cautious right now. And so I look at their wording, and when you take it at face value, theoretically, they may not say anything else about this console until March 31st. I don't actually believe that, but I am still counting it as a possibility.
It is possible, yes.
Yeah.
The only official word is revealed by the end of March.
No, the word is
But-
within,
or announced.
within this fiscal year.
Right, yeah,
Not,
which would still
March
include
31st.
that would still include March 31st.
it includes tomorrow.
on the
Yeah, it
well,
does do
exactly,
tomorrow, yeah.
exactly. On the flip side, though, it could still theoretically come out in July,
and they
right?
can
Like-
they can literally announce it before the direct in June.
I just
Yeah.
think they're gonna mimic what
It
they
could be
did with
Summer
the-
Game Fest, and we'd be
Yeah,
like, "Why are you at Summer Game
Ew,
Fest?"
no.
Yeah.
Oh, no, I know there's a lot of use about it, but there's only 2 events a year that more than one
Yeah.
console fan base is paying attention.
Yeah, but I mean, at the same time, Nintendo has proven with this tweet that they've constantly like rolled to the beat of their own drum. It's going to be their own
Isn't it
event.
like 40 million
Yeah.
plus views or
We
something?
are-
They're not really a huge
You're right,
fan of.
yes.
And there's something else I want to point out. When we kind of look at things like this, like when someone says, "Oh, by the end of the fiscal year," that doesn't for Nintendo. That doesn't mean at the end, right? We have several examples where they said, "Oh, by the end," and it comes out way beforehand, right?
Mhm.
Yeah.
I mean, look at
They just don't
Thousand
want to
Year
give us
Door,
a date.
right? Like
Yeah.
with Thousand Year Door, we're like, "Oh, that might not come out till way after Luigi's Mansion 2." Nope, comes out before, right? And for Luigi's Mansion 2, they said by summer, the
Well,
first month of summer. It could have been, late, like mid-September. Those are just some examples. Like this has happened repeatedly with Nintendo.
They've always been capping.
Personally do believe it is going to come in March, and it's not really because of the rumors. It's after I read the entire investors Q&A, the translated version, there was a lot of, well, he's like, "Oh, we haven't given a release timing yet, so we're not going to talk about this, or we're not going to talk about that." A lot of talking around it, but obviously acknowledging that, yeah, we announced it's coming, so yeah, cool. There was a lot of talk about how everything they're doing at the moment is basically about getting to that system. We're not looking to grow our active user player base right now. We're looking to maintain to bring them to what's next. We're looking to build things for the future. Everything was all just, granted, every single question had the Switch successor in it, by the way. There wasn't like a single question that didn't have it.
It's the
It
most
was like
important
one
thing.
question. There was like one
Yeah.
question that was just about their revenue number.
No, did anyone ask, "Hey, where is Metroid Prime 4?"
No, there was no Metroid Prime 4 brought
Bro,
up.
I would have.
Investors know that game is
I mean,
dead.
they were asked directly, like, when are you revealing this and when is it releasing? I was like, okay, he's not going to answer
Yeah.
that, right?
It's worth a shot.
It was worth a shot, though. Hey, you shot your shot. That was probably a Super Nintendo fan that bought just enough stock to be there to ask that question, because that's happened in the past.
Yeah.
But I do think that looking at how he was consistently talking about it, obviously the investors putting a lot of pressure to get more information out. I do think that it really sounded like everything he's doing right now is about the transition. Even the 13.5 million Switches, that's also about the transition. Not losing momentum going into it. It's everything's about getting to that very launch and getting everyone to want this damn thing day one. So to me, with him talking, like, and by the way, bringing it up at all officially publicly is one of those, we know this is official now. We're transitioning. Done. This is a transition. But while we're transitioning, we're going to try to do something we've always failed at doing. Not falling off the cliff, having the launch of what's next.
Yep.
And that's why we're saying we are ambitious about 13.5 million. We are ambitious about 160 million software or whatever the heck it was.
But you know what?
Because we need to be, Because if we don't do that, then we're just doing what we did last time and the time before that and the time before that. We truly believe we can keep momentum while launching another product. And I think that is, if Nintendo pulls that off, Furukawa, you will have just proven yourself as being the future of Nintendo. No doubt that I unless something bad health-wise happens, unfortunate, like with Iwata, I can't see you not being CEO for pretty much the rest of my life anyways. He's not that old, so.
We actually have good signs. Like you look at their projected sales or their forecasts for the hardware sales, they exceeded it for this prior fiscal year. So Nintendo's already shown, like, and people were very dubious of them hitting that goal, and they exceeded it. Yeah. So Nintendo's already kind of shown, like, hey, we do set tough challenges for us when it comes to these sales, but we are committed to meeting them. And so,
and he openly did say that, hey, we might not hit these projections, but like this is our goal. Like we are dedicated to pulling this off. By the way, while we're trying to transition, kept talking about transition, kept talking about future, carrying things forward. I'm just like, man.
Quick theory.
What were you gonna say, Mike? Go.
So the fact that he announced the successor very boldly after announcing the direct, it's like, okay, you feel confident that you're gonna have software sales after mentioning that you're it kind of confirms a little bit backwards compatibility.
We're gonna announce some stuff about this new platform in the next fiscal year. By the way, we're still gonna try to sell you Switches. Here's a direct.
Yeah, so that's what I'm saying. So what if so backwards compatibility is almost a must here at this point because of it. Second, what if in the trailer,
I think it's all but said at this point.
So what if in the trailer they show somebody using the Nintendo Switch with the Nintendo Switch 2 connected, like
Miyamoto was with, like.
Keep hoping Furukawa's lying, and there's something slipping in Switch 2. You just keep that hope alive.
It's like what the Wii U used to do with Zelda. You can use
what I would like is they don't use a green screen this time. They're in someone's office, and Switch 2 is like in the Phil Spencer video, like just off in the corner, like at the edge.
So sick.
And you're like, wait a second, what is that? And we just left speculating about it. They didn't give us any news. They didn't announce anything. They stuck to their word. But now all we can do is talk about that little corner of a piece of tech that doesn't look right. Yeah. Anyways, sorry. By the way, I am sorry for bringing up Phil Spencer. I know there's some not so good stuff going on at Microsoft. But that is not for this show.
No.
Okay, so we're all pretty sold. It's going to be coming out this fiscal year. Does anyone want to play devil's advocate a little bit?
Well, I mean,
I think it's coming out.
I just have a hard time believing that they're going to milk another full year out of the Switch with like the kind of slog of releases that we've had. And to me, it makes sense that when there were rumors that Switch 2 got delayed because Nintendo wanted to make sure they had good supply and they wanted to make sure they had a strong lineup, to me, that sounds right.
Yeah,
I know.
Okay,
that sounds right to me.
I think that it's unusual for there to be another major delay when it comes to hardware.
No, I agree. I don't agree.
You don't agree?
As the center square, I'm gonna go here on a
center square.
Square.
You didn't say pocket square.
Pocket square. Well, pocket square is on this side. On this side.
Okay, right. Just go on with your point. Pretend I said nothing.
Okay. So, as a center square, I want to be bold and say that the Switch 2 comes out this year.
July. You're trying to go opposite. Like you're trying to be like, it'll still be like a holiday release.
July announcement, and it'll be released in November.
I would say there's a possibility of it if it wasn't for that 13.5 number. I feel like that involves a full holiday without that.
That's a good point. The 13 and a half, like their wording, it theoretically leaves it open, although unlikely. The forecast, I agree, kind of.
Because that feels like they'll still price drop regardless, but it's like, but they're trying to push it as like the only thing they're selling this holiday.
And even if the Switch sells well, like you still have like you're losing out on like December, January, February, where it's the primary.
I'll give you an example. It launching in March. If you think about not having it this holiday, fourth quarter is the worst sales period for the hardware anyways, and this past fourth quarter wasn't like a great fourth quarter for Nintendo in terms of their hardware sales. So I think I honestly just think that it's fine. I'm like, you could be right. And here's the thing. I want this thing in my hands yesterday. I want this thing in my hands yesterday. So I want it to be dude, this holiday sounds great to me.
Yeah.
But I kind of feel like if it was this holiday, it wouldn't have been announcement during this fiscal year. It would have been it's releasing this calendar year.
So when they projected those sales, they're talking about March 2025. From now, March 2025, they expect to sell 13 more million.
Yeah.
So I feel like even if they announce the Nintendo Switch, the two Switch will continue to sell. It'll still be on sale, maybe at a lower price point. And so, like you were saying at the beginning of the podcast, a very low price point, $99 for a Switch Lite. That's a sale as a sale. You know what I mean? And maybe some parents with the entire library of games that they will continue to support for 10 years. Wii U just stop with their online and earlier in the year with their eShop. So
I don't even think Switch Online is going to go anywhere due to backwards compatibility. It's just going to be around.
Imagine how long more will the Switch be supported with NSO and further. I think 10 years. And so I think at least Nintendo Switch could continue to sell.
It's also a subscription service now, so I kind of feel like that's massive incentive to keep it going.
Yeah, so it can sell 13 million from here to there with that.
I'm not saying it can't be done. By the way, I think 13.5 million is possible. Look, Nintendo said 15 million and they outsold that.
If we all get together and each of us buy 1 million Nintendo Switch.
Yeah.
All of us each. Don't worry.
Right after
everyone out
after
there.
I get 10 million subscribers. Actually, even then, if I had 10 million subscribers, I would not be able to afford
One thing I wanted to dabble in just a little bit.
Not today, no, not today.
One thing I just wanted to dabble in just a little bit, and I don't want to run too far overtime with us. So we'll say we got about 15 minutes left on the show. Is what sort of features or changes do you want from the original Switch? Like, we're not going to go into software right now. We could talk about that in a future show. But what sort of things do you want to be better and or different from the next one? Themes or better eShop. What are we thinking? A camera on the system.
Clean up that eShop. 100%. That thing's a mess.
Yeah.
It runs horribly.
Get it off a web server and make a local app, please.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and give me a D-pad. Give me a D-pad on that thing. I don't like those D-pad buttons.
I got a few that I could just list off real quick without diving deep into them, so everyone else,
sure.
Just to keep it short. Dedicated voice chat. The app sucks. I used it when it was brand new. One time, I never went back to it. The app sucks.
But the audio quality is so good.
I would actually like to see. This is a weird one. I'll make it really quick. I'd like to see achievements, and I'm not an achievement or trophy system. I'm not an achievement or trophy hunter. However, I do think Nintendo could do something fun and creative with trophies or achievements, and I'd love to see them incorporate some sort of a system where if you unlock the achievements, maybe it unlocks a theme or a wallpaper, you get some sort of reward. I think achievements are really good for keeping people engaged, keeping people in game and coming back to games. So that I'd love music in the menus and eShops like they used to do. Themes obviously were mentioned. Give Nintendo that personality back. And trying to think. Real quick, I'd love them to bring back a speaker. And if there's a new Pro controller, which I'm assuming there will be a brand new Pro controller, I want a speaker back in it. Playing through Final Fantasy VII Rebirth and having Chadley talk to you reminded me of when Midna would speak to you in Twilight Princess. I actually find that more immersive and enjoyable than I did the evolution of HD Rumble into Switch. I love the audio coming out of the controller. I think it's cool. But
it is
those
cool.
are just some quick ones. There's more I'd like to see, but
I just played Star Wars Dark Forces and reviewed it on my channel, and I played it on PS5 at 120 hertz because I got the TV to be able to do it in 4K. And I had the speaker on the controller on, and it was so cool. And you could hear the laser, like when you're shooting the assault rifle through the controller. And I also had it playing in 7.1 surround sound. And just between that
So
and that,
rad.
What a baller setup right now.
it was bad. It was
You were
badass,
in the
like,
realm.
Seriously, it was really cool. And usually I mute that speaker because I had it muted before because I'd be playing 2K.
Oh,
and
sure.
People just talk shit all day.
Yeah,
But
it gets
I just-
annoying.
Right,
I mute it by default because I don't want to
Yeah.
hear it. But it was really cool. So that is something as well that I'd like to see.
Yeah,
Nintendo
not
could
for
take
voice
advantage
chat
of it.
out of the controller like Sony does.
Nah.
Just sounds from the game, like through their software development, unique ways to have certain sounds. Maybe you hear rain, sounds like rain, or your footsteps.
Now, here's the
when
thing:
you're going
the
by-
sound can
Yeah.
actually work in tandem with the HD Rumble.
Yep.
to make
Yeah,
it more
absolutely.
immersive experience.
True.
Yeah.
Which, by the way, there are some games on PS5 that do that as well because they have even better.
I do like
way
the
better.
speaker idea. Like
Way
it's
better.
a great way to add a nice new little cute feature for the inevitable. Yeah, I think it's inevitable Metro Prime 4 cross-gen version where like every time the map or like how like Samus has an AI that talks to her, like you hear the AI through the controller. That would be kind of neat.
Imagine hearing your cannon charge when you charge the cannon, hearing it through the controller, and it's like doing HD rumble, and you feel that energy being sucked through. Oh man,
Imagine
I
you
know. Little things like that are just so good.
I have about 5 features, and they're all they're all believable. They can be thrown away, but they're all because of the patents that I saw.
Yeah.
Number one, the first one was about digital game sharing between 4 other accounts. So when you buy a digital game, you can share with up to 4 other accounts. They can play together with the same exact game without having to buy the same exact game in the same household 4 times. The other one is haptic feedback on the controllers. Just like PlayStation has on the back here. The patent talked about haptic feedback on the actual joystick, where it'll actually force you to kind of push a little bit, depending on the terrain that you're in. Like if you're sand or water or whatever. So basically, more haptic feedback on the controller. I mean, I think that sound thing counts as haptic feedback, right? The new controllers having memory in them, so if you wanna take your Pokemon with you or whatever like that to your friend's house and play, you can actually just store it in here.
Yeah.
Oh, they did a similar thing with Amiibo at one point.
Yeah.
So it would be kind of like, remember back in the good old days, PS2, GameCube could take your memory card slot. You just go to your friend's house, play your game on their console.
I missed that. Yeah. So basically, with this thing, do the same exact thing. One thing that I saw that I pictured is like, remember, can you imagine if the next fighter game, what's this called again? I forgot.
Smash.
Yeah, Smash. I have an old brain. Okay, so Smash Bros. I'm Dory in real life. Smash Bros. But they allow you to train each fighter. You can actually train your own fighter, bring him up to a certain level. Instead of it giving it its own features, you can actually train them and add your own features. Then you can take your Smash fighter and bring him with you, and then go to your friend's house and just.
So basically, put your Amiibo data inside.
Yeah, as I say, they did that with Amiibo.
Yeah,
that was one of the things Amiibo did.
So yeah.
Cool.
That was the other one, and I think one of the other one was which I think it can be done now, and it's been done now with the really horrible game they released this year, which was using mobile phones as extra controllers or devices to.
Oh, that party game.
Everybody wants to switch.
Yeah. So that was just the worst.
I got some pretty simple ones. Hall effect sticks, done. It's supposed to be done with drift. It's already, you can already buy it and install it yourself if you want right now from like Ghoulie Kit and companies like that. So just do it. Just get it out of the way. Look, we hear there might be rumors about magnets attaching stuff. Cool.
Yeah.
Well, let's use some magnets and Hall effect sticks and just get rid of the drift issues. Even though, I know Nintendo, it benefits you to have issues because people buy more Joy-Cons. More ergonomic Joy-Cons, which I think will probably naturally just happen by the fact that the system will be bigger and they'll want the new whatever these are, Joy-Con 2 or whatever they call them, to be differentiated look-wise. So I think they might just go with ergonomics to make it look a little different. And then I also want to just maybe go with, I had this idea in my head about something with the dock. How I think the dock that it comes with will clearly be visually different in some way. It'll be designed differently, I believe, just because again that helps signify that this is a different platform. Not that the old docks might still work with it, especially the OLED ones. That could be why they had the ability to update them. So it's possible the old OLED docks could still function. But I think there'll be something with the dock where maybe even the ability in certain circumstances to have information still display on the screen while it's docked.
Where they adapt them so that the front panel is not so over.
So it's not covered, yeah.
And, then
and it wouldn't be like a
major
thing. It'd just be something minor, like maybe you're playing a game and your notifications can still pop up on the screen, so you can just kind of glance at it quick.
I like it.
Something like that. So that's just kind of something.
Can I add one
That's
more?
a really cool idea. I feel like you'd have to have the dock be wireless, right? If your dock's next to your TV is far from your couch or
just throw it at the dock.
wherever you play. Unless you could have your dock on the coffee table.
An extra long cable.
Dock tethers to the I guess a long cable.
Yeah.
But I think that idea is rad.
Yeah. Depends on the living situation. I mean, there's also things like I'll give another example. This goes back to the Wii U. Remember they had the Wii U video chat. Well, another reason to leave it uncovered is it could have a front-facing camera, and you can do video chat while gaming.
They can spy on you. They can spy on you.
Yeah, exactly.
Can I add one more feature that I forgot?
Sure.
Is basically the dock as an entertainment hub in itself, just not like a plastic thing, but on itself, you can actually turn it on, and it'll give you apps like Hulu, Netflix, and all that.
Oh, yeah, you mean actually be a modern system?
Yeah, so basically, no, not really, because you can't take model systems on the go.
It's like a Fire TV.
Well, but like every other platform in existence, you can do all those things.
Yeah.
Basically, so it has its interface, like beautiful interface with all the apps and everything. Once you dock, you can see the little thing pop up.
The ability to put folders on the home screen.
Yeah, all that stuff. Yeah,
True.
Yeah, so that's
just a new refreshed UI that feels different.
Yes.
Yeah.
Whatever
better UI for sure.
I mean, I don't know what makes them there's a lot of UI ideas, and we've seen a lot of people modify UIs. Some of them look cool, some of them look a little too much, but I think the UI just needs to look I want things to be better, but I think even just looking different will help it signify that hey, this is not your normal Nintendo Switch.
It's not.
I want to see the DualSense controller capabilities implemented with Switch. So adaptive triggers too.
Absolutely.
Because playing the Star Wars game, Dark Forces, with the adaptive triggers was also just really awesome.
I would say we're just
did it.
I don't think it'll happen just because the mechanics behind it won't work in such a small form for the controller. But that also gets okay, if we can't have that, is it possible we can finally go back to analog?
Oh, please.
At least analog.
Yes, I wish I would have
digital.
mentioned that. Yeah. Dude, I hate the digital triggers.
I mean, that's why we're jumping all the way to PS5. It's like, can we just get analog? Can we just get like the basic?
I hope the next Pro controller has a more quality build, a bit more heft to it. Feels more like an expensive piece of tech. I love the Pro controller. It's comfortable. It works great. I've never had issues with mine, but it definitely feels cheaper than your PS5 or your Xbox Series X controller.
You insulted. How dare you? So I got a couple ideas. I actually am presenting one of my ideas currently. If you could share it for me, Nate.
Sure. I got you. Let me go to your screen.
PowerPoint presentation 10.0.
Oh my God! Get it off! Get it off! Get it off!
I present you
get it off.
article.
Get it off!
Hey,
get it off! Get it off! Get it out!
Love it.
With great idea.
All right, hold on. Fantastic idea. All right. Here's the idea. You're a Smash player, aren't you? All right. This He's getting a trauma response to this. Is one of the most innovative pieces of technology from the good old days of Nintendo. Except this time they're going to bring it back
with AI.
And I'm actually piggybacking off of Nate's idea of an improved dock. We right now are looking at the prototype for the Nintendo Switch 2 dock.
It's Rob the Robot, by the way.
It is Rob the Robot.
For the audio listeners.
Yes, it has a USB-C cable extension, AI, but also an AC adapter extension. So it has about a good 10 feet of length.
Listen,
so
can they make it a female Donna the Robot or something like that?
What?
Make it a female?
You want a female robot? What?
Huh?
Just put a bow on it.
First off,
Yeah,
did you not know that Rob's a girl?
It's not.
Whoa.
That's a girl. I don't
For
know.
Roberta.
robot.
I mean, yeah, it's a robotic operating buddy. That's what Rob
Buddy.
stands for.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
Anyways,
he
joking
he really
aside-
just pulled a
Right.
Jarvis enhance on us. That was crazy.
Yeah, yeah, that's awesome,
How
man.
did you do that, man?
I pressed
Yeah.
Zoom.
But it was like still so clear. Like it was a
That
really
just
high
means it was a
resolution.
it was just, yeah, it was a
It was
regular
a high
resolution.
quality image. Yeah.
Yeah. So joking aside, even though that would be a really cool like idea, I want to revisit an idea brought up in the past of bringing back Street Pass. But I'm gonna evolve it a little bit, right? So I kind of liked what Cameron was talking about with achievements, kind of integrating that into just the overall Switch 2 ecosystem. But now imagine Street Pass, and with Street Pass you would get little things, right? You can enjoy like a little puzzle pieces and stuff. Now factor that on top of achievements, merge them together. But let me go one step further.
Yeah.
We just today we got the announcement that we cannot transfer over images to Twitter from Switch, right? So, well, I think you could probably there's some things you can still do, but we lost some functionality, right? Nintendo takes this as an opportunity to just bring back Miiverse, back the Nintendo Twitter, which is what Miiverse was on Wii U, and integrate that on top of a new revamped Street Pass. It also has achievements in there. It's all one nice, beautiful package on Switch 2.
And then have a website where people.
Yeah, I really want to see Nintendo bring back some of its personality, like that we lost with the Switch, and things like that, Andres. Things like Street Pass, things like Miiverse were so quirky and so unique to Nintendo. I think it would be, dude, Street Pass especially. When you first brought that up in one of your prior podcasts, I was like, oh my god, why didn't I think of that? Because it's just such a good friggin' idea.
All right. We're gonna kind of wrap the topic up there. We have some quick rapid fire questions, but HMK has got to head out, so he's gonna skip the rapid fire question section at the end. Thank you so much for being here, man.
Of course. Let me know next time. Everyone have a good night.
Wonderful meeting you.
Your shirt, by the way.
Thank you.
Good night, man.
All right,
Wonderful
take it easy,
meeting you.
y'all.
Cheers, brother.
Later, HMK. All right, let's go rapid fire through some of these super chat questions we had come in. Let's see here. We have from Taker6N $2 saying episode 2 of this podcast is really just to announce episode 3. Yes.
Yep.
This episode is
also
titled "The Successor."
Also, we also, you know what? I'm going to use the opportunity. We also could say we have the Nintenbyte Podcast Clips channel as well. You guys can go watch where each of these things we talked about will be segmented out and put on that channel. It happened all the way with episode 1. We have 4 different segments already out. So you'll have 4 segments for this one as well before we get to episode 3. And audio version of the podcast is out. So it's on Apple, it's on iHeartRadio, it's on Amazon, Spotify. Literally, do not look up Nintendo Prime Podcast. That show is over. It is the Nintenbyte Podcast. That's how you can find your audio episodes. All right. Getting into the next one here. This was $4.99 by Nintendo Switch fans saying, do we know what developers cut or how much was cut from the game Tears of the Kingdom?
We do not know.
Yeah, we don't know.
I don't
Gotta
know.
wait for that buck.
According to them, they did everything they wanted to do.
Yeah, I don't think. Who was the guy who went to GDC last time I was on the pod, or I was on Nintendo, the Nintendo Prime podcast? Nate,
that was Roger's Space.
Yes, Rogers. He said he talked to the devs and he knows. I think he mentioned some of that kind of stuff, but there's no like official release, or it was more like he talked to them while they were having drinks or something like that. So.
Yep,
they're drunk.
Next one we got here. $2 from Netweed09 saying the gang's all here. This is why we love Nintendo. Because of the gang?
The gang, yeah.
The gang makes you love Nintendo. Sweet.
I'm glad.
Hey, I'm happy to be part of your love of Nintendo.
I know. I'm glad my empty shelves behind me have to give me.
It's Charmander because we both got Charmander behind us.
It'll come back. I'm gonna have a whole new studio. It's gonna be great. It's gonna be great.
Listen,
I love it as is.
I was at Target today. They brought so many Pokemon plushies. It's not even funny. Like huge ones.
Yeah, they're like the new Dragonite. I mean, I have the Psyduck.
So here's a fancy question coming at you from Boo Many for $5 saying, is Andres restart the next Aonuma? And will the Sea Turtles take out Nintendo Prime and Eric Moore? Probably referencing to what's going on
the TV
behind me.
behind us.
Yeah.
I would like to talk to Cameron for a brief moment here.
Make it brief.
Cameron, remember the other day when we had our heated debate episode and I told you about my
Yeah,
Zelda
yeah.
concept? What'd you think
Sure.
of that? What'd you think
I
of
thought
that?
it was pretty good. Yeah, I thought
Yeah.
it was pretty cool. A pretty cool idea.
Yeah, so I'm literally just building a Zelda game in my brain. That's just what I've been doing lately. The other night I was just literally in bed thinking for like 4 hours about this game. Like building on. It's not crawling up anyone's butt. That's not a mechanic I've considered yet, but I will put that.
Is it coming out through your butt? Because it's building here. The coating is.
Oh, okay, I got you. I'm not sure, right? But I actually like. I'm being somewhat serious about the Zelda concept. Like, I think it's really cool. I mean, it's my idea.
Yeah,
so
no, it was rad.
I'm biased, but I'll say that. Imagine a Zelda game that had story as a focus, but I still want to integrate like gameplay innovations. But anyway, yeah, I think about this stuff for fun.
And the sea turtles already took like 8 of my 9 lives during this show.
Right, I could see it like trying to crawl in my ear the one time. I'm like, holy crap!
Yeah, I think it might have impregnated your brain.
It's possible.
You might want to check that out. You might want to go to the doctor for that. Bro, what?
I'm just saying that's a dangerous sea turtle.
It is.
That is very dangerous.
I might have to add that to my game.
Kitsune did a €5 super chat saying Datre81 just released a video about the 12 gigabyte RAM confirmed for Switch 2. So I did see that pop up in my feed, but I didn't want to talk about it because I haven't watched it. And confirmed is always one of those. It's usually hiring posts and stuff for him. So I want to make sure that I actually watch the video and check the sources and see what's up with that. That is one of the rumored possibilities for RAM. 8, 12, or 16 is basically what where most people that looked at all those leaked T239 stuff is at. Nobody wants 8. People are kind of
I want 8. 8's a nice number.
12's okay. People want 16. So I don't know. 12 to me seems pretty reasonable. It seems like something Nintendo would do.
Yeah.
16 would feel like a dev kit thing. 12 would feel more like a consumer. But hey, I don't know.
There's also an ongoing story, right? Because I think that there was this initial information was on Family Boards, and then there was the Gaming Leaks Reddit that started talking about it too.
Yeah.
And I'm assuming Doctre just found a little bit more to support that idea.
No idea.
It also mentioned 256 gigabytes of internal
Here's
storage.
the thing. If there's anything to it when I dig into it, I'll have a video on it tomorrow. So we'll see. But yeah, I'm aware of the video, and we were in the middle of a live show. Nothing I can do about it.
Happens.
Virtual Valor used the member chat 8 months. Thank you so much for being a leader for 8 months. Says, hey, Nate and crew, how do we think the emergence of a new console affects what they offer via NSO?
That's a good question.
I think we get GameCube, but after all these remasters are done, I think we get it for Switch too. But I don't think we get anything taken away. This won't be like previous carryovers like Wii to Wii U or anything. This is going to continue on.
Yeah, I think the entirety of the NSO's library is going to be literally on Switch 2 day one. Like, it's just going to work.
Yeah, just expand from here.
And I think that I honestly don't think they're going to slow down adding games. Like, they still might add games throughout this year because it's just going to be one continuous subscription system. So there's not really a reason to not do it, unless obviously there's, hey, we need to take this time for the next 6 months to make sure everything actually runs on Switch 2. I can understand maybe then the team behind the games, because it is newer generation hardware. There are going to be some differences in the quirks and making sure everything works. But I would presume they probably already figured that out by now. But I don't know. I know what we've heard. The team is very, very small that handles bringing these games over. So
yeah,
who knows?
I hope that, with this supposed internal delay, right, that allows them the opportunity to make sure everything's pretty much ready to hit the ground running.
Yeah.
And also, this is an iterative system, right? Like, they're not like starting from complete scratch like they did with Wii U or like they're following up on the Switch. There's more reason for things to kind of transfer over more smoothly than beforehand.
Yeah, I mean, myself, he said that basically now the software and the system they use now has made it more easier than ever to bring things forward with them, like backwards compatibility.
Yeah,
so.
Absolutely. We have MC Super Chat coming in saying, question for y'all, what's your favorite dinosaurs?
That's a really good question.
Velociraptor. But here's the problem. My favorite one is the one that doesn't actually exist, and it's the Velociraptor in Jurassic Park.
Yeah,
which isn't actually a real Velociraptor. So, but
classic Stegosaurus.
That's a good one.
I want to go with the Megalodon.
Megalodon is a shark.
It's a shark. It's a dinosauric shark.
Yeah, it is a.
Sure.
I don't know
It did exist back then,
prehistoric. Yeah, it's prehistoric.
I think I gotta go with Denver.
Huh?
What?
What?
The Denver Nuggets?
No,
What do you mean by that?
Denver, the last dinosaur.
There
last
it
one,
is.
yeah.
Come on, man.
There it is. I was like, I know what he's
He's our friend
referencing.
and a whole lot
Cordial's
more.
good.
Yeah.
You gotta be pretty old to know that.
What, how do you spell it?
I am 25.
I got it right away. I'm like, I'm doing this one in the podcast.
Dude,
No,
I'm from back in the
How do
day.
you
when the
spell
land
it? I want
before
to look it
time
up.
was considered
I want to
cool.
look it up.
Great,
What is
great,
it?
Denver,
great
like
theme song.
great theme song. It's in my head right
Great
now.
theme song.
I was born the same year Donkey
Yeah,
Kong
right
came
back.
out. Right? I was born the same year the first Donkey Kong came out.
I was born the year Nintendo came out.
Am I just
of course.
mishearing things? Are you saying dumb bird?
No, Denver.
Oh,
No,
because
Denver.
then I thought you were talking about Cameron over there.
Like Denver, like the city?
Yeah. It's called Denver, the last
Classic
dinosaur.
The hell?
Renaming his channel.
Hey, Dumbbird Classic.
Okay.
Yeah, that's right.
And
Okay.
and
Okay.
make
I'm not
sure you
familiar with
listen.
this.
Make
Dude,
sure you listen to the
Yeah, listen to the
song.
theme song. It's
wait, hold on.
It is really good.
Listen, you guys should make a podcast called Thunderbird.
Hey.
We might. We've actually
Oh.
talked about it behind the scenes.
No, I get credit, right? Like, royalty.
Yeah,
That's-
absolutely.
Eric,
That's
what's
the
your
name.
what's your favorite dino?
Let's just go with the pterodactyl because I don't.
All right, pterodactyl
It's a
it
good
is.
one.
Pterodactyl, it is.
Oh,
No one
man.
going with the T-Rex.
Solid
Wait,
choice.
I've got a dinosaur. I've got a dinosaur. I don't know what it's called. I don't even know if it's a real dinosaur because I don't know much about dinosaurs. But it's also from Jurassic Park. The spitter, the one with the fins that come out like that. And spits the ink.
Yeah.
Is that a real dinosaur?
Yes.
Yeah, I
Yes,
like that
yes,
one.
that's
There
a
you
real
go.
dinosaur. Yep.
I want to go with the Triceratops because it's like a cow, it can't eat me, and I can just ride it and feed it and stuff.
Fair
Nice.
enough.
Just showing this one to make sure I thank Mammal Hut for the 5 gifted members during the show. Thank you so much, buddy. Appreciate the support.
Yeah.
Thanks for the money.
I haven't told you my favorite dinosaurs yet.
That's a fine. Get to your favorite dinosaur. We're not to the next question.
Okay, so I don't know. There's how do I pronounce this? I hope I pronounce this right. The
I'm a
Quetzal,
dinosaur.
the Quetzalcoatlus, that giant bird.
That was the one I was going to say. I just didn't want to pronounce it, so I said
Like there's an image I was looking up here. It's
Yeah.
just to let me screenshot it real quick, just to kind of show you how big this thing
Sure.
supposedly was.
Quetzalcoatl?
Yeah. Hold on, I'm screen share right now.
So chat's saying that the spitting dinosaur is not real. So what's the
Oh,
truth, you people? Don't make a fool of me.
We thought it was.
Yeah, the one with the long beak.
Oh, yeah.
crazy.
The one with the really long
That
beak.
thing's rad.
yeah, this
I've
thing
never
like
seen that thing before.
it's huge.
Wow.
It's considered, I think it's considered the largest bird ever. It's not a bird, but flying creature.
Mhm.
If
Dude.
not
That is a
that,
beak.
then if
It
not
looks like
that,
Precursor to the woodpecker.
its wingspan's actually really large too. It's deceiving with this image here, but
Andres, go to the
obviously-
middle one on the
That thing's
left. Or
rad.
down to the left one.
It looks like some eldritch horror, like something you'd see in a
This
Dark
one?
Souls
Middle
game.
row, left side.
The one with the comparison.
There you go.
It
There.
does.
Let me. Okay. Maybe should I make this bigger?
Probably.
Yeah.
Wow.
Oh, I want to
Yeah.
see this.
Yeah. Wow.
All right, hold on.
That's a lot bigger.
I'm gonna.
No,
zoom
and
in.
he's got to enhance.
Yeah, it does.
Enhance.
That's an-
There we go. There we go.
There you are. Yeah.
Largest
That's
flying
terrifying.
prehistoric creatures.
There you go.
Wingspan 33 to 36 feet.
damn.
Yeah.
That's so stupid.
Yeah, but there's this
Ridiculous.
other freaking bird
Yeah,
that's even
right?
bigger,
Dude,
apparently.
it's crazy how big. Like, if you think about planet Earth, like, oh, it's so small. Yeah, but these big MFers used to just roam.
I just think we used to be giants
But-
before. We just
It-
shrunk.
it's literally like one, like, what is it? One flap, and you're all the way around the globe.
Right.
Yeah.
Jeez.
And there's another crazy animal, the Spinosaurus. This is like basically like a T-Rex, but bigger,
Oh yeah.
and it also can swim.
Yeah, hell yeah.
Yeah, I
not
love
terrifying at
T-Rex,
all.
but this is like a
All right, guys. So next
Better
time
one.
on the Dino Cast, we are going to be talking about
All right.
I know.
Our next one comes from Jorge FT for $10. Thank you so much. He says, how long of an adjustment period do you think Nintendo will have from HD to potentially 4K with Switch 2? What do we mean by adjustment period? I mean, I think the game's
Is he
day
assuming
one.
that? Yeah, it sounds like he's assuming that the early games won't be in 4K; they'll be in HD, but eventually Switch 2 will have 4K. That's how I'm interpreting it. I think day one. At
Here's
least as far as like
here's the
big
way I
Nintendo
look at
games.
it as Nintendo's not going to be trying to make games in native 4K in the first place. It's going to be with upscaling stuff.
Yeah.
So I think it's literally day one. I don't really think it's actually going to affect their development pipeline as much because they're going to be using upscaling technology to have the 4K.
I agree. Like Switch games will play
agree.
in 4K when in
Okay, well, no. It was
upscaled 4K.
Yeah.
I mean,
even then, you got to patch it in. DLSS doesn't just work like that.
I think it's a very
it's
valid
supposed to be done.
concern to bring up, though, because I think one of the reasons why the transition from Wii to Wii was so terrible was because Nintendo was very late to the game with HD, and that was a huge shift for them in terms of development.
Sure.
We saw a slow end to the Wii and a slow start to the Wii U. I don't think that's what's going to happen this time, just for in part because of what you guys mentioned, right? But also, we've heard the Switch 2 is delayed to get the games lineup ready.
Yeah.
If the console's coming out March 2025, it's because the games lineup is ready. So whatever sort of delays there may have been, they've been ready. Let's remind ourselves that we're in the 8th year of Switch. This is an extremely long generation.
Yeah.
And they've done a great job through unifying their game divisions and outsourcing using their partners and just building up their own internal development teams to maintain a really good release cadence. Yeah, maybe not every game is if there's a AAA release, right? But they've given us consistent games. And so I just kind of think that Nintendo has really positioned themselves to focus on just working on these these next gen games for a while already. They've been preparing for this, and they're going to be ready next year.
What I also think is fascinating is because Nintendo is always kind of late to the game with this, all the third-party developers are already used to developing in this way by the time their system comes out, which means Nintendo doesn't deal with the slog of the transition that seems to happen every time with third-party developers. They're kind of in after they've already figured it out. It's kind of convenient.
Yeah.
And I do think we're going to get quite a bit of like day one third-party support on the system the first few years.
Bro,
Absolutely.
All
right, so
no one's gonna want to miss that hype train.
Yeah, there's a lot of companies mad they didn't believe in the Switch the first time around.
There is one third-party
Activision.
game. There is one third-party game I actually would be completely happy with being the Switch 2 launch title.
GTA 6.
No, I don't care about that.
Well, I mean, that's a big deal game.
Yeah, but not for me. I'm not a GTA fan. I get it. Like, I get it. That is huge for sure, right? But for me, it would be Monster Hunter Wilds.
Okay.
Yeah.
That'd be a good one.
And I mean, it could come out March.
I will say
2025.
this: there's going to be at least one really big third-party game at launch because, like, even last time it was what? Skyrim, I think was the one they focused on specifically, and then they announced Doom later in the first year.
Well, launch year because Skyrim came out like pretty close to the holiday. I want to say.
I mean, they were it did come out later. They were advertising the system with it though.
Yeah.
But I think there'll be something. I think that something's more likely to be a game that's already been out, like Elden Ring or BG3 or something like that. But
oh man, I'd love Elden Ring. Bad, just having that on
like Elden Ring at launch would just be sick. That would
I
be
mean,
I don't see why not.
Coming out this year, so
it would make sense too because it still would have a lot of talk.
Complete edition.
Yeah.
That first trailer was some games that we're gonna be surprised about.
Let's go to we had a $5 super chat from 1000 year J2 said, what do you think will be the final name for Switch 2?
Switch 2, hopefully.
No.
Come on, Switch 2.
But let's not spend another hour on this one.
No, just everyone give one name. Just go around the room. Everyone give a name.
Switch 2.
Bastard.
Even though I'm probably wrong.
Eric,
That's
name?
what I want.
Switch 2? Okay.
Yeah.
What I want, Super Switch. What I think would be funny, Switchblade.
Okay.
That's good. That's good.
All right. Mike?
I don't want Switch at all. I want something else different. Okay, so what's the gimmick for the Nintendo?
Sandwich.
Okay, just give me a name.
Yeah.
Nintendo Sandwich.
Nintendo Pickle?
Actually,
Okay.
that was really good. Nintendo.
Just
the
Nintendo.
No. Gamebird, what we got?
No.
The powerful Nintendo Entertainment System, also known as the PNES.
There you go. There you
Oh,
go.
oh,
I
oh.
like it.
For
He said it with
I like it.
almost a straight face. It's crazy.
The Switch Advance, the Game Boy Advance,
Switch Advance.
Nice.
I think
Switch
that'd
Advance.
actually be like a really safe because you still have the branding of the Switch and you still have
Sure.
things.
Actually, I do like
The hard
that
part
Switch
is
Advance,
we don't know any details about the console, so like guessing beyond Switch 2 is very difficult.
What's another word for magnet?
Hey, this is just a for fun conversation, all right? And because it's for fun, it's going to be called Nintendo Prime.
There you go. There you go.
I didn't know we were actually.
That's just fun for me. That's just fun for me. But, hey,
All right.
I did say it was fun for everyone.
It's gonna
Jorge
be called
came
the
in with
Switch
another
Restart
question. Jorge came in with another question for I call it the restart.
Right.
Would you sacrifice Joy-Cons for a better D-pad?
Yes.
No,
I would
Not really. The D-pad's
No.
fine. I feel like.
No,
no.
I don't think
Yeah.
so.
I would sacrifice.
I would not sacrifice the ability to have detachable controllers for a D-pad.
I would lay
As long
I'll
as
buy a
there's
Pro
a D-
controller with a
as long as
D-pad.
there's one on the Pro
Exactly.
controller, I will be
Yeah.
fine.
Yeah.
As much as I want a D-pad on the go, you can also buy third-party accessories that'll give it to you too. I think if they don't give the D-pad on the Joy-Con because they want to have it be the 4 buttons, I understand it, and I understand even more now that I've watched my kids take them off and go multiplayer a lot. I get it. I get why they did it, and I can understand why they might keep it that way.
You want me to blow your mind?
Would be cool if they released like official ones though that you could just buy optionally.
I'm actually about to get canceled here, but
Good one.
I actually prefer the Joy-Con directional buttons for some games as opposed to the D-pad.
Personal preference.
And like, so if I'm playing
Yeah,
Tetris
personal
99, I would prefer to play with my Joy-Cons on the grip just because I feel like it's more accurate.
Okay.
With the D-pad,
True.
too many
Sure.
times the diagonals are. It might be because I have a launch Pro controller. I think they had to make some adjustment. But it hasn't been as accurate. So I would actually I do want a better D-pad. I get that, but just give us that on a Pro controller.
But it makes sense because if you want to, if you want this type of to go diagonal, you can just use the joystick and be more accurate. You can just this form of D-pad. So I understand. So yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
I agree.
We had got down to our last two here. Kitsune did a €5 one saying seems shipping docs leaked. Everything is on Family boards. Holy crud.
What?
Oh,
Apparently shipping documents for the components for the system leaked. This is where all the information is coming from.
This is the same stuff we were talking about earlier, though, isn't it?
Well, no, they're saying the 12 gigabyte LPDDR5, the UFS 3.1, the dimensions of it, the SoC T239, everything. So like, a lot of this stuff was all just rumored. Like there's a lot of none of this feels new to me, but it's one of those. It's never been confirmed, and if the actual shipping documents are out there and it's actually leaked, because these shipping documents are about the components shipping between the manufacturers for assembly. We'll see. I mean, like UFS 3.1 is not something we knew. A mic, apparently, we didn't know there was going to be a microphone on it. If that's what that MIC means.
Yep.
So I'm just this is one of those things that good old Nintendo Prime might be up late tonight making a video.
Nintendo Dimensions.
I
We'll
saw
see.
this, but I guess I didn't see that it was leaked. I don't know. I saw people saying that I saw a thread where people were going to say, "Oh, YouTubers are going to say it's leaked," but I don't know.
Yeah, this is one of those things that I only heard about this through a super chat. So
Right,
I
yeah.
haven't done the research on it yet.
I haven't looked into it deeply either yet.
Also, I will note if Family Boards was making jokes about they're going to say this is leaked, LOL. I know for a fact that Family Boards has been digging through shipping documents for 6 months. So to them, none of this is new. It's to people that wasn't digging through them that it might be new. So it's like one of those Family Boards trying to laugh at the internet because they kept a secret for 6 months that now got out, which that's a whole nother conversation about Family Boards.
We'll see.
All right. Thank you so much for that. And then our last one that we have here, at least until I double check the chat, was from Jorge as well. Another $10 super chat. Thank you for the support tonight, man. He said, would a new Miiverse, would it be worth the expense and the headaches to moderate? For me, yes. For Nintendo.
Right. I'm not the
That's
one.
not my problem.
Yeah.
Yeah, it
That's
ain't
not
my
problem.
I'm just saying, it literally is not my problem. For me, absolutely. I loved Miiverse.
Well, I mean, if it was included with Nintendo Switch Online, like it was part of the operating cost.
Yes, because even if they raise like a couple bucks, they raise it a couple bucks, the overall price point. But we get this where they pay staff to actually be moderating. So I think it's more feasible now than it was back on
It'll be funny.
Plus, hey, look,
more
hey,
people pay for Nintendo Miiverse than Twitter.
I got it. No, that's what I'm saying.
True.
They're just dropping the support because they don't want to deal with the API to share images. The counter to that is we're dropping our own social network again, where you can share images with your Nintendo fans. You don't need these social media, all the social networks anymore.
Yeah.
So
they would I really would need them to have an app on the phone.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
It would mean, like, I like the idea of it being on the Switch, don't get me wrong, but for it to be super successful, you would need to have an app on the phone that you can also scroll. Just like
Nintendo's already got apps on the phone. They already released games on it. Nintendo accounts are a big deal on phones for them. They count it as part of their numbers. So I absolutely think that they would literally have an app on the phone that you could literally interact with it.
And it wouldn't be.
It's a hell of a lot better app than Switch
would,
voice chat.
I would say they definitely wouldn't call it Miiverse. They would have a different name.
Nverse sounds kind of basic, but I mean, it would get the point across.
Yeah,
the Switch Sphere.
I could see Switch. Yeah, that something like that would probably be more.
Call it Knitter.
The winner.
You can't call it that. There's many reasons you mispronounced.
Yeah, I was about to say. I'm like,
you mispronounced that the wrong
line
way.
there.
That would be hilarious though. If someone in a boardroom was like, no. It's neater. But other people are going to pronounce it neater when you put Nitter. I'm just letting you know.
Yeah,
that's one of those. Someone comes over in the boardroom and you chuck them out the window.
It's Twitter, but the N is silent.
Yeah. All right. Well, that's going to do it for episode 2. Went a little longer than we wanted to, but again, this is also, I would argue, a bit of a special episode because this was the one that had the confirmation.
Just you wait till we see footage.
I know. Oh my god.
Yeah, that one. I'm not even going to attempt to try to keep that closer to 2 hours.
I call dibs.
You might just have to have multiple episodes.
Yeah, we might have to split it. I don't know. We'll see. It depends on how much we're talking about.
It might just need to be like you just go live and you just get us on a Discord call or something, and we just we just talk for hours.
For that episode, just drop links to anybody whoever makes it first gets it.
We have a bonus question here right at the end from Clapping Zelda Cheeks. I love that username. $5. Yes. Do you think Wind Waker on Switch would include the Tingle bottles? I think sadly yes, but I want them to go back to bring the Tingle Quest back instead.
I think they would be gone.
You think they'll just cut it entirely?
Like, what are they going to
port the Pro?
I mean, there's clearly they were losing Twitter functionality. How are they going to do it? Like, what are they going to do?
Wait, it was just an in-game thing. I don't know what you're talking about.
No, it was integrated with Miiverse.
Yeah, but you don't need Miiverse to do it. You literally could just put messages in a bottle and just have a text thing up. You type a message in a bottle, goes to your friends.
I mean, it's basically like what they do in Dark Souls.
They could do it like the Dark Souls. Yeah.
That would be cool.
I personally would rather they just get rid of it and bring back the original Tingle Quest and just get rid of the requirement that it needed originally to function. So
it's funny for you. It's a negative, but for me,
I hated Tingle bottles because we got that instead of the actual Tingle Quest line, which is very important to his story.
But don't you only have that if you use the Game Boy Advance?
Yes, they have to just get rid of that requirement.
Right. So because the thing is, back when I was a kid, I didn't have the
cable.
I never.
I did because of 4 Swords. I went to Walmart. I got 4 Swords for my birthday, and all my friends were. We realized we couldn't play multiplayer with GameCube controllers. We had to have the damn cables for the GBAs.
Yeah.
So literally, I had to beg my grandmother to run me out to Walmart to find these damn cables, and of course, they only had exactly 4 of them. In the whole store because nobody knew what these dang things were.
I have so many good memories with that game. I love 4 Swords.
Yeah.
We played that all the time back in the day. We had Game Boy Link cables. And I remember specifically in English class, I think it was junior year, playing Mario Kart with the volume up and everything. Like total Dixon class.
All right, well, that's going to do it for episode 2 of the Nintenbyte Podcast. Be sure to check it out on our audio versions and all the clips that go up on the show. If you didn't see the whole show, you don't got to go rewatch it. You can actually just go check out the clips of the sections you're most interested in. I do apologize for this being a bit of a longer one, but then again, it was a hype one, so I don't really blame it. Don't worry. Every week's not going to be this way, I presume, unless Nintendo has other giant big ball move news dropping next week. We could probably keep it a hell of a lot closer to 2 hours next week. So thank you guys so much for being here. One last thing. let's tell people where you can find us. Favlam. Where can they
You
find
can find me on twitch.tv/Favlam or on YouTube. I post weekly on YouTube now and daily short form. We have lots of videos coming out. But my biggest thing is this Saturday, I'm doing a Valorant tournament where I'm forcing a bunch of Pokemon creators who have no idea how to play Valorant to play Valorant. And it's going to be really cool and fun. So make sure you follow.
Nice.
There you go. Gamer Classic. Where can they find
All right. You guys can find me over at Gamebird Classic. I post Nintendo videos, but I also post skits. I had one released this morning.
You literally
Super
sent it to
badass.
me to make sure I watched
So
it.
good.
Yeah, I
So
wanted
good.
Prime to watch it. No, badass video. Not to brag, but it was a passion project. Something I've been working. It was difficult to
badass.
make.
I'll vouch
Big
for
pain
that.
in the ass, but please go check it out because
It is awesome.
I put my heart into this one. It's the most fun I've ever had making a video on my channel.
It's the most Gamebird video that could ever exist.
It's so good.
It is
Listen,
the most Gamebird
I don't
video
call
that
things
could ever
badass
exist.
unless they are. It's badass.
I need to see this.
All right.
Hang on.
It's badass.
Thank you.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that's it. Thanks for having me.
So how's it going, Mr. Odyssey? And is that a new TV?
What?
It looks ultra widescreen to me.
Mario brought it, obviously.
It's another TV. It's not the new. Just,
I was just saying, it just looks wider than your old one.
yeah,
Like more cinematic.
yeah. It's more wide. It's wider than the other one. The other one was like 65. This is like 70.
Yeah.
Uh,
Okay.
But you can find me at the Odyssey Monday through Friday. I'm uploading kind of only breaking news, one topic videos for now until I get ready for the new show, hopefully starting soon. I have a big announcement, like a huge announcement on the channel. I'm working on the video right now. It's like the biggest announcement I've ever made in my life.
Oh, wow.
So it's happening soon. As soon as I edit, I'm gonna publish, and you'll guys know. It's
Exciting.
yeah.
So this is an announcement of an announcement. You sound very Nintendo like.
Rolling it up.
All right. Can I
Very
ask you a
Nintendo.
question? Have you
Yes.
ever mentioned it to us before in any conversation we've ever had? in the
No,
past?
I have not. Not that.
Okay. All right. So I'm not gonna even guess. I'm just gonna
Yeah, I'm not. Yeah, I'm not.
anticipate.
All right.
I've been working on it for I would say 2 years now so far.
So go check out Mike Odyssey with a surprise big announcement. Something coming.
Yeah, something coming.
Thunder Steve 85 Gaming.
That is where you can find me on YouTube at ThunderSteve85 Gaming. And then I just posted in the last week reviews for a Uden Chronicles Rising,
Hey, you got it right.
TMNT Wrath of the Mutants, and Star Wars Dark Forces. All
Pumping out
posted
some
in the
work.
last week. And then tomorrow at 6 p.m., I have a review coming out for a budget gaming projector. That is really cool. That's going live at 6. It's a very intense hands-on review, demo footage, and everything.
Nice.
Let's go. Hell yeah.
Hell yeah.
Eric.
I'm here.
There you
That's
go.
pretty much it.
Every Wednesday.
Impressive.
Pretty simple. Just restart.
Yeah, don't worry about me. Watch Gamebird Classics Switch 2 trailer. It's really freaking good. So
Yeah. I'm Nintendo Prime. You don't need to watch me though. My video's stuck. Go watch Gamebird Classic, Mike Odyssey for Lamp on 85. You know what? If Eric puts out a video on like Facebook, go find him and watch it. It's probably more entertaining than what I make. And Andres Restart has literally been making better content than me since I've met him. Actually, since before I met him. So,
I thought you were an honest person, but you might be lying.
No, your
Wow.
content is shit out of mine. That being said, thank you guys so much for being here, and we'll be back same time next week.